Community Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's Essential Storyteller, 1690 WVON.
Na diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. Na diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. Stop the track, let me say facts. I told you give me a minute and I'll be right back. 50 million around the world and they said that I couldn't get it. I think that's so sick and filthy with binges I can't spin. How you gonna be talking? You act like I just gotta beat it. Been the number one diva in this game for a minute. I know you're at the pay for the one that they call a queen. Every radio around the world know me 'cause that's where I'll be. Na diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. Na diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. When he pull up, wanna pop my hood up, Betty better have a six pack in the cooler. Getting money, divas getting money. If you ain't getting money, then you ain't got nothing for me. Tell me something, tell me something. Where your boss? Where your boss? All my ladies up in here, they like the top like. I wanna see you. I like to meet you. What you say? She ain't no diva.
President Trump just gave a speech about elections in America. So let's focus on three of his claims and the facts. First of all, one of the claims that the president made tonight was that voter registration files had been compromised by China, saying that, quote, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states had been bought, stolen, or hacked. But voter files are publicly available in many places. Some states post them for free. Others can be bought by political parties or even by news organizations. And actually, one of the documents released by the White House this evening even says that, quote, publicly available U.S. voter registration information for 6 states was downloaded by a PRC and then it was redacted in 2022, which was well past influencing the 2020 elections. Throughout 23 heavily redacted files posted by the White House, the intelligence community discusses China's attempts to potentially influence the 2020 election, though it's often presented as potential dangers with no evidence that the attempts were successful. Number 2, President Trump warned of, quote, shocking vulnerabilities in voting infrastructure like machines used to vote and the tabulation machines. Voting equipment, like any technology, is subject to security concerns, but the data provided by the administration does not prove that any machines were hacked in 2020. Voting machines are not connected to the internet, and most states, including every swing state in 2020, uses paper ballots or have a printed record that serves as a literal paper trail in later audits of counts. But of the 8 sets of documents that the White House released on this topic, there is no new evidence of vote totals being changed and impacting the outcome of the 2020 election. And number 3, the president also claimed that the Department of Homeland Security found that at least 278,000 non-citizens were registered to vote in federal elections. The system that the Trump administration used to ID some of these non-citizens regularly flags citizens too, so often that a federal judge last month blocked it from being used for this very purpose, calling it, quote, unreliable and inaccurate. It's also a crime for non-citizens to register, but being registered to vote does not mean that the person has cast a ballot. In fact, the document on this issue released by the White House does not fully detail how it arrived at that number and does not mention how many, if any, people on that list actually voted. States also maintain their own voter rolls and review them. One example, before the 2024 election, Georgia did an audit of their own voter rolls and found that of 8.2 million registered voters, 20 were non-citizens, and those were referred to local prosecutors.
Listen, guys, you are tuning in to Funny Clip Fridays on the Cleopatra Show. I see you all in the chat. That's right. Like the WVON page. Interact with me. I'll be sure to talk back with you. Drop your comments and questions and your thoughts, and I will ping pong them back. Be sure to like and subscribe to my new YouTube channel. That's right, the Cleopatra Show. Share it with the church. And if you would like to keep up with me exclusively, be sure to follow me across all social media platforms at Follow Cleopatra. Last night was prime time. Now, when I refer to prime time, I normally put my shades on. Maybe I should, because Coach Prime Time is usually in full effect. But I'm not talking about Coach Prime Time. I'm talking about your president. That's right, POTUS. I got these for my birthday last year. POTUS was definitely in live and in color on some channels. Not all channels. Every channel did not want Trump. And he's threatened their license via the FCC. He owned them too, right? But for everybody that did carry him, did you follow him? If you tuned into his speech, I want to hear from you. I just wanted to keep it actual, factual, give you a little cup of some strong Joe this morning. I was going to play Joe Scoff, bro. I was watching him this morning, but we'll tune into some highlights from his speech. I think it's important to dissect it. I do. I think it is very troubling that we are here in this moment. We are. And we went back 6 years. But of the documents that were released, what was there? Was there any meat, any food for thought? I have an exclusive show for us Monday to talk to one of the most brilliant minds about a theory that I'm going to unpack as to what is it your president wants. See, you can't watch necessarily what they say. You got to watch what they do. And I'm paying attention to both. I'm watching what they say and I'm watching how they're moving, which is why Senator John Ossoff is really stepping it up, because there are certain states that are in play for seizure. Absolutely, hands down. Of course, it's Delta time. It's 9:13, and I got my Coach Prime glasses on, my blue blockers. Shout out to Coach Prime. He's just the coldest. I ain't even like Colorado. I liked his energy. But your president, was it real? Did you all invest 25 minutes of your life? Now, for me, shout out to the Cube. I went last night with my husband and I. Tell you what I did last night. Normally, I don't get out too often, ever. And we had some adulting. My husband's birthday is tomorrow. So big ups to Mr. Draper on a very special birthday. And we went out and hung out at the Cube. That was really cool. 600 North Michigan. And there's some adulting activities around the city. So for the first time, I peeled away from my investment of Donnie the Commie. But I did watch it later. But I peeled away. And then I've been analyzing some of the documents since then. So I was not with you all live and in color with him. And I'm kind of grateful for that. You know, got my KN95 mask out. And we weathered the smog. How about that? The smog. That is a cloud, a thick cloud across Chicago. Thanks, Canada. You know, fight those wildfires a lot better, Canada. You know, I've been to Niagara now. So the reserve there is immense. I don't know why we couldn't get a grapple on that, but the impact is real. So if you are going out and about the city, protect your lungs as best you can. But here's the deal. I want to hear from you all, because here's the question of the day. And I know it's Funny Clip Fridays, and I'm going to get to some funny stuff. I promise you. A lot of that speech was hilarious. What are your concerns about the midterm elections? Point blank simple. And we looking at China. You're looking at Russia. You buying it. What about his speech did you buy? I smelled desperation. I smelled a man that is flailing. I smelled folks that are just power seeping through their hands like water. I want to know how you felt. You know, so let's go to the phone lines. Let's talk to Frank. Frank, welcome to WVON.
Hey, number one fan in Bolingbrook. How you doing?
I'm in good spirits, Frank. Talk to me.
Good, and happy upcoming birthday for your hubby there. I did not watch the whole speech. I went on YouTube and just bypassed the junk I didn't want to hear. I believe what's going to happen is that at these election polls, that they're going to be secure. He's going to call out, it may be ICE, somebody's going to oversee, especially in the heavy Hispanic neighborhoods. But they're not coming out anyway, they're already scared of ICE. But even more so, the Hispanics will be targeted at these election polls. Mark my words. It's going to security detail around throughout the every day or two. But it's going to be interesting to see what's happening. That was a dog whistle. Hey, we're going to put our guards. We're going to be checking things. So we just only seen the tip of what he's talking about. Not the tip, but we're at the bottom of what he's talking about. We haven't seen the tip yet. And thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. Rightfully so. Should Latinos be afraid of ICE? They're gunning them down in the street. But you have black folk to be like, oh, police come save me, and they're gunning us down in the street. So is that enough to stop them? Stop black folk from calling police and throwing barbecues with the police and trying to find a way to work with the police, and the same police that beating them over their head, that forced them for wrongful convictions, abused their bodies. You had some white shirts that were even raping prostitutes and exploiting transgender folk and all type of horrible stuff. Horrible. I ain't even talking about when you get in the hole. I'm just talking about the atmosphere to protect and serve. So is that enough to make Latinos scared? I don't think so. I'm in some spaces where they actually are even more fired up to do something about it. So I think in this moment of fear, I want us to look at ourselves, Black America. The same people that have killed us historically and harmed us, you call them for help and let them in your house. And the last woman that done that, she said, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you. He shot her dead in her face. Horrible. And I ain't stopped black folk for calling the police in Sangamon County or around the country. Because who you gonna call? Batman? Ghostbusters? So I want us to think about that same concept and apply it to us surviving while being Black in America. 773-591-1690. Good morning, everybody. Be sure to like and share the show. I'm interested in what was your thoughts of that 25 minutes of thrill. This is what he had for the world. Relitigating 2020 and these theories and the aspect of what do you want at this moment in time? And where's Mitch McConnell? Listen, guys, we're 109 days away from the midterms, and it is getting serious. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
It's Gospel with Pam Morris-Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there, WVON.
Nothing ruins a family outing like road rage. Skip the car horns and hop on board Metra for a smooth ride. With reliable service and weekend passes, Metra is here to make sure your adventure starts with a smile. Metra, drive less, do more.
Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter.
We're up to way over 400 million here. Yeah, giving money back. How about that? People in Bellwood got 10 million, Broadview 6 million, Burnham 3 million, South Holland 17 million. The city of Chicago's up to $190 million that we have given back to African Americans. Who does that? Nobody does that but WVON.
Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter, Monday mornings at 11:30 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
It's Rufus Williams. The thrill of summer is finally here, which also means it'll be over before we know it. This fall, the Rufus Williams Travel Club is heading to Charleston, South Carolina, October 8th through the 12th. Join me as we experience the beauty, the brilliance, and the culture of one of America's most captivating cities. We'll enjoy the charm of the Lowcountry, breathtaking scenery, incredible cuisine, and the rich African-American history of Charleston. There will also be a few special surprises designed just for our group. So whether you're traveling alone, with family, or with friends, you'll be welcomed into an unforgettable experience filled with great people and great memories. Space is limited, and the best rates are right now. Simply go to WVON.com, click on the Rufus Williams Travel Club banner, and reserve your space. Advantage International is the official travel partner of the Rufus Williams Travel Club. Charleston, South Carolina, October 8th through the 12th. Travel with people, travel with purpose, travel with us.
In July, Vaughn TV has your summer watch list covered. Go behind the headlines with the official launch of Portraits in Color, featuring candid conversations with music executive Matthew Knowles, community leader Jotaka Edie, and actress Danielle Truitt.
My family's very proud. It was very cool to, when the show first came out and to see myself in those credits, with dun, 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 and we're like, that's me. That's crazy, It is very cool to be a part of the legacy of Law and Order now.
And that's just the beginning. Premiering this month, Serenity, Strength, and Style with Sylvia Ewing and Friends, a fresh new series featuring inspiring conversations about health, wellness, creativity, and living life to the fullest. This July, there's something for everyone on Vaughn TV. Watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, or at Vaughn.tv. Vaughn TV, for the culture, by the culture.
WVON, traffic and weather now.
Not much of a rush hour this morning, so no major changes in your travel times as you make your way along the Ryan, the Bishop Ford, and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial. You'll move along at the posted speed. Light traffic for now along DuSable Lakeshore Drive. However, right there at Roosevelt Road, that's mainly a stoplight delay northbound. Then stop and go to Monroe, another stoplight. If you're on the Stevenson, just 35 minutes in from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 35 traveling out. The Eisenhower, a little activity. 50 minutes in from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, 48 minutes on the outbound side. And the Kennedy just bumped up to 36 minutes from O'Hare to downtown, getting to the airport, still an easy trip at 26. Taking a look at our weather, we're under another air quality alert, which remains in our area. We're seeing that smoke from the wildfires out of Canada blanket our area. The National Weather Service says our air hazard level is worse today than yesterday. Temperatures today are expected to climb into the 80s. 89 is our official high. Right now, we're still hovering at 83 at Midway. It's 83 at the Obama Presidential Center and 83 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
President Trump is giving an Oval Office address, a type of speech that's usually reserved for major news affecting the country. But tonight, he is expected to continue spreading his lie that there was widespread voter fraud in the 2020 election and that he was the real winner. He's going to claim something about China and Venezuela and Fulton County, Georgia, and voting machines. I don't know what. But here's what I do know. That was 6 years ago. Trump's team went to court 62 times claiming voter irregularities in the 2020 election. Judges ruled in their favor only once, and that decision was on a narrow procedural issue, not on whether there was fraud. Hand recounts were conducted in multiple states, many of them open to public observation. The results did not change. And remember, this election happened while Trump was president. So is he really arguing that his own administration couldn't conduct a secure and fair election? It seems like it. But here's why Trump is attempting to sow doubt on our elections. First, Trump's ego is so fragile that he cannot fathom losing. So he is trying to rewrite history to make himself the winner. But more importantly, he is afraid Republicans are going to lose the 2026 midterm, and he'll have to face real accountability for all the corruption and self-dealing that's taking place under his administration. It's the same reason he wants the SAVE Act to become law. He wants to make it harder for millions of Americans to vote. It's the same reason Republicans aggressively redrew congressional maps to create safer Republican seats. It's the same reason Trump issued an executive order restricting mail voting. While costs continue to rise and the war in Iran spirals out of control, Trump is busy enacting a plan to hold on to his unchecked power by undermining confidence in our elections and changing the rules. So that's what this is about. But you, the voters, will have the final say.
And we are back. The time is 9:27. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show, and you heard from the whip. That's right. The good bros, the man of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, James Claiborne, Congressman of South Carolina, called a thing a thing. And I need for us to think about this thing. Yes, it is Funny Clip Fridays, but nothing he said was funny. An unchecked man that is drunk off power. And is he really claiming that his own administration did not secure the election, which is just mind-boggling to me. I've been waiting good and ready. And a lot of people are saying the thing. You moron. You were the president at that time. It was your administration. Make it make sense on the Cleopatra Show. But you can't. These people, the same people that have gerrymandered black districts, that have filibustered black representation, this anti-black agenda from this regime, the same people. A primetime address literally is for a state of emergency. Was it an emergency that we're now about to test the testosterone of 30-year-olds going into the military so you can create warmongers? This is your Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. He had to be extra drunk when he came up with that declaration. And this is on your tax dollars. This is their administration. This is what's so crazy. This is why we look like a joke internationally. See, my show, yes, it's culture, arts, and politics. I'll put a cap in anybody else, but I also have an international perspective. And from the lens of this, from China to Russia to Argentina, ain't nothing you can do with me. When it comes to this, they're laughing. This Strait of Hormuz, they said they ain't never going back to how it used to be. Meanwhile, we over there blowing up bridges and roads. They're not going. This war has spiraled out of control. So if you're going to take to prime time, tell us your war plan. No, he's desperately saying, don't send me to jail. Don't take my children and don't take my money that I stole from you. This is the same man that just had a court filing thrown out, which got Todd Blanche in trouble with the California Bar Association because he is the defendant and the prosecutor. How you gonna sue yourself for $10 billion from the United States Treasury? And somebody will call me and tell me how they love Trump policies. The sickness that permeates this country is cancerous. It is contagion. But it is Funny Clip Fridays. When we come back, the phone lines are lit 773-591-1690. I see you all in the chat. And fair warning, Lee Williams says it's not just Hispanics. It's us too. Less polling locations will have longer lines, totally discouraging voters. He's absolutely right. You can't even, in the South, you can't even pass out water. Okay? Water. This is all with purpose, not on purpose. More when we return.
Hazy and smoky in Chicago as temperatures climb near 90. Good morning, I'm Anna Fernoy, and here's what's happening. A bill to reform auto insurance is awaiting the governor's signature. Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias is behind the bill. He says it will give Illinois regulators the authority to review and challenge excessive insurance rates increases.
When signed, this legislation will finally bring long overdue transparency, accountability, and consumer protection to Illinois' insurance marketplace.
He went on to say that it will protect drivers from unfair rate hikes and ban insurance companies from upping premiums by more than 10% and with a 30-day notice before the renewal date. Chicago is still under an air quality alert. Health officials are saying because of the tiny particulate matter that folks should consider wearing an N95 mask, especially if you have to be or work outside. WVON's Kayla Patton went out to find out how Chicagoans are coping.
The National Weather Service has placed Chicago under an air quality alert due to unhealthy ozone and wildfire smoke levels. This alert comes as smoke from wildfires in Canada drifts into the area. When traveling throughout downtown Chicago, smoke from the wildfires can be seen. I took to the streets to see how Chicagoans are navigating this haze.
You say you're from Rockford and it's worse there. So tell me a little bit about that.
You can hardly see. Like I said, about 12 miles ahead, you can't see that because it's really dark. So I don't know what they're going to do about it.
Are you concerned at all for your health or anything like that, or your family's health?
Well, yes, because, this is not good. We have to take it in consideration. We don't know what the government can do to assist us.
It's already hot and humid here in Chicago. How is the haziness and the smokiness making you feel? Are you concerned at all for your health?
I do have asthma. Something similar to this has happened before because we're so close to Canada or whatever. So I'm just really going on with my day.
The alert is expected to be extended through tomorrow afternoon. Health experts are advising folks to avoid strenuous outdoor activities and stay indoors. Kayla Patton, Our News Now, 1690 WVON.
And because of the poor air quality, some public areas are closed. Perry Williams has that part of the story.
The city had the worst air quality in Chicago history yesterday, as well as in the world among major cities. Dr. Jeremy Smiley of Endeavor Health says people diagnosed with lung and heart issues should remain indoors.
Some irritation in the eye, nose, throat. Obviously, chemicals can make people nauseous. Just smoking any strong odors can make people nauseous and have coughs.
The Chicago Park District closed all beaches and outdoor pools, and all day camps have been moved inside. I'm Perry Williams.
Funeral services for George E. Johnson will begin at 11 this morning at Trinity United Church of Christ on West 95th Street. The church will live stream the services on its website. Yesterday, hundreds paid their respect at the Visitation at League & Sons Funeral Homes on South Cottage Grove. George E. Johnson was a Chicago business giant. He founded Johnson Products on Chicago's South Side in 1954 and turned it into an empire that made Afro Sheen a household name. In 1971, Johnson Products became the first Black-owned business to be listed on the American Stock Exchange. George E. Johnson died on July 6. He was 99. That's a look at Our News Now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 9:34.
Leaders, advocates, entertainers, and changemakers from across the globe are in Chicago to advance civil rights and social justice at the NAACP's 117th National Convention, We the People. Now through July 22nd, the convention will address issues like voting rights, education, criminal justice, environmental justice, and economic opportunity. Monday, July 20th, WVON's Matt McGill will broadcast live from 12 p. to 3 p.m. from the McCormick Place West building. To register, visit NAACP.org/the hub.
A new episode of Mama I Made It is here. This month, award-winning journalist Samantha Chapman sits down with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker for a candid conversation about leadership, public service, and the issues shaping the future of our state. From the challenges of governing to the people and experiences that have shaped his journey. This is a side of the governor you won't want to miss. Stream the new episode of Mama I Made It only on Vaughn TV. Available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, the WVON app, and at VON.TV.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
Summertime is playtime and hot sunny days, but it's also a time to pay extra attention to kids' safety. This Saturday on UChicago Medicine's Community Health Focus Hour, pediatric experts will join host Cedric McCoy to talk about summer safety for kids. Learn how to recognize heat exhaustion, treat sunburn, and bug bites. Know when a summer earache or allergy flare-up means it's time to see a doctor. Listen live this Saturday on WVON and Facebook. The Community Health Focus Hour, Saturdays at 1 p.m., powered by the Urban Health Initiative of UChicago Medicine at the forefront.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds simple and affordable. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big. No retail store markups, just custom blinds guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Things are still nice and quiet along the Ryan. Still just that 17-minute trip in from 95th Street into downtown. We do see a little bit of light traffic right approaching Pershing Road, then stop and go to Roosevelt Road. Otherwise, things are moving well. If you're on the Bishop Ford or Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, you will move along at the posted speed. No problems or delays to report along DuSable Lakeshore Drive right now. If you're on the Stevenson, give yourself still 35 minutes from I-355 to DuSable Drive 35 traveling out. We're seeing activity on the Eisenhower, though. A 50-minute trip from Thorndale to the Burns Circle outbound just bumped up to 55 minutes. If you're on the Kennedy, 36 still in from O'Hare to downtown, getting to the airport just a slightly heavier, now 27 minutes. Taking a look at our weather, the National Weather Service says our air hazard level is worse today than yesterday. That air quality alert remains in effect. Temperatures are expected to climb near 90, though. We're right now made it to the mid-80s, 85 at Midway, 85 in Oakville Gardens, and 85 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Illinois on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
When you play the 7X,
when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure, one where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have dangerously exposes like levels never thought possible to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people, our beautiful, our great American people. But that all changes right now. The documents we will release starting tonight have been gathered by the White House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the President's Intelligence.
We are back. The time is 9:39. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. That was your president, Donald John Trump, confessing. These are my confessions. I'm going to come back to that. He's confessing. You heard the whip. Congressman Clyburn, lay it out flat. He was the president. So when you are the administration in charge, you are overseeing the election process. Were you in collusion? This great conspiracy, this cabal that he speaks of, seems like his hands are all over the cookie jar. And last I checked, he done took all the cookies out. He done pulled up the Brinks truck and loaded the wagon and off with our money, our resources, our stability. And if he could take our democracy and constitution, he'd drag that too. Phone lines are yours. 773-591-1690. In the chat, Project 2025 Master Plan. Discourage and eliminate Black voters, power, and participation. Stay woke, fam. I agree with that. Black folks say we done been there, done that. We know how to handle it. But what we did not anticipate was the aggression around the anti-Black agenda, the evisceration of our history, our stability, our employability. That is cruel. Okay. And that has been the greatest attack from this administration. Not only just in the setting of just workforce, collegiate and otherwise. That's serious. I'm going straight to the phone lines. Let's talk to Andre. Andre, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Hey, good morning to you, Miss Cleopatra. Happy Friday to you and your family.
Thank you. Likewise.
Hey, okay, I want to address your subject matter this morning, but first I'd like to say, I don't think the apple falls too far from the tree, right? So I used to listen to Morning Joe and I used to listen to Stephanie Rule, but they had said something one day to kind of turn me away from them so I don't boost their ratings. And that is, Morning Joe said most of his friends and family are Republican. Stephanie Rule says her mother watches Fox News all of the time. So I feel like the apple don't fall from the tree, even though they got a show. I'm pretty sure that their views might be synonymous with the Republicans. So I don't deal with them. But your question, matter about the speech, yes, I watched the speech. And what I gathered from the speech was what I always felt. You ever had somebody say something to you to hurt your feelings, you never get over it? Well, back when Trump is falsely claiming that he won the election with Joe Biden, those polls in those states had Donald Trump winning. And when it didn't happen, that was a hard pill for him to swallow. See, I've been advocating for the longest that the polls should be barred 3 months out from an election, and they should be able to report what the polls reflected after the election is over with. Because, see, those insurrectionists and the way Donald Trump is behaving, because they actually felt like he was going to win that election against Joe Biden, and the polls were wrong. He did not win. So those polls, don't nobody pull a gun up to you and make you do nothing. But that's what he's still banking on. He still feels like he won this thing. But when I heard him on there rambling on, I say, yeah, he still got a mental problem. He still ain't over it yet. He still don't want to accept the fact that the polls were wrong, that they lied to him and his insurrectionist cohorts, and that Joe Biden won that election. And he done spelled that dilemma over to the rest of them, because a man get before Congress and he won't even admit that Joe Biden won the election. See? So that's the one thing. And the last thing is that gambling. There's a lot of gambling going on now. And there's gambling going on with the politics, believe it or not. And so we got to find a way to ensure that this kind of stuff don't happen. My concern for the midterms, like you asked, was that the Democrats won't do enough to protect the midterm elections. That's be my major concern about the midterm. Democrats won't do enough. I see that they're trying, but they got to pull out all stops. And here in Illinois, the governor does have the right to call out the National Guard during election time. They just can't be within 100 foot of the poll. So if they're going to try some hanky-panky, maybe the governor should consider calling the National Guard out during election season and stand around to kind of deter some of the things that might go on, because that is one of the methods that Trump didn't want to do. So the Democrats had to be prepared to counteract this stuff with Donald Trump. But again, Ms. Cleopatra, I think the polls tell lies. And Trump believed what the polls said, and so did them insurrectionists. So we need to find a way to ban polls 3 months before an election. Thank you, Ms. Cleopatra.
I appreciate that. Honestly, Andre, as in another life, I'm a statistician, right? And I really admire the work of pollsters. In fact, when I was sent for training, congressional training in DC, we spent time with pollsters. And there are not enough Black pollsters, bottom line. But here's what I will tell you. The beauty of a poll. It is a snapshot at that time. So that time can be a couple days to a week. And given the sentiment and the velocity of how everything travels so fast in our current life, polling can be outdated tomorrow, depending on what happens today. Like right now, I'm watching the retaliatory strikes between Iran and the U.S. right here in the station, because we have our screens here in the studio. So your sentiment of war 2 weeks ago has definitely changed today and yesterday, because all bets are off on a peace deal or ceasefire, because strikes begun. But if you polled 2 weeks ago and you began to watch the precipitous decline of gas prices, one will believe we're on the right track. That was 2 weeks ago. So polling has its beauty and it has its shortcomings. It truly does. And it is the sentiment for that moment. Polling is really good to test messaging. So that's the other side of my brain and other degree that I have in terms of how do I communicate, right? Like, you can't just make up talking points. You have to really extrapolate the data from the people in terms of what are they saying and how do they feel. That's the beauty of a poll as well. So Trump's shortcomings is just intellect. It's not there, it's absent. And he truly believes what he paid those suits around him to say. And the suits around him dare not darken the idea of poking the bear. The emperor wears no clothes, but they see him dressed in garbs. So they're not going to tell him the truth. He doesn't want to hear the truth. That's not what he's paying you for. So I want us to really look at the principle and the subject. And it is Trump. And he is shrouded in gold and enshrined. And he treats himself as his own emperor. He really, truly does. So there are some attributes that polling offers. But one thing about it is not the tell-all. And historically, the downside of what I don't like about polling is that it has always deferred to the de facto aspect of landlines. So those folks that still have a landline, they're aged oftentimes. They're not a younger demographic. And it depending on where you're polling and what you're polling about. So there's highs and lows. Like I said, in another life, I liken myself to be that statistician, that poster, because it is a good business. It's lucrative and it is fruitful depending on what you use it for. That is the ammunition that we sometimes lack because our think tanks can't afford to access it no damn way. Polling is expensive. And you pay all of this money, and yeah, you want to believe. But see, that is the lack of intellect from Trump. He is tone deaf to the people. He treats us like we're peasants. He's not listening. Like he said, he don't even care, not even a little bit, about your pain at the pump. He don't care, not even a little. He said affordability is a hoax. But he's always had a silver spoon in his mouth. 773-591-1690. When we come back, I got the other side of the clip to respond to this. Nick, George, Mark Carter. Oh, Mark just love the call. I love when you listen, Mark. Mark can't get enough of Cleopatra in the morning. The Cleopatra Show is what moved Mark. Now, Mark, you refute that when we come back.
Coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
When you play the 7X Bingo Multiplier Instant Ticket from the Illinois Lottery, you play with purpose. Over $8.4 million has been raised to help support homelessness programs in Illinois. Purchase one to help raise even more. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 years or older to play. Game odds available at IllinoisLottery.com.
Shop small with Wintrust Bank and celebrate the heart of our community, our local businesses. Listen as we share a list of small businesses throughout our community that we can shop, dine, and support throughout the year. These businesses are the economic engine that drives our neighborhoods. Wintrust knows that. That's why they're Chicago's bank and why they're encouraging you to shop local. Keep listening for the Wintrust Community Business Spotlight campaign. With Wintrust, shopping small is a big deal.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh, I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's time to focus with Robert McKay. Quality conversation, protecting, preserving, and preparing our past, present, and future. Sunday evenings at 4 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
She's been the gospel soundtrack to our Sunday mornings, a friend to the community, and at WVON, she's family. Join Mayor Brandon Johnson, DCASE, the Chicago Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, as they celebrate Chicago's gospel sister, Pam Morris Walton, during the Chicago Gospel Music Festival on Saturday, July 25th in Millennium Park. Come help us honor a woman who has spent her life lifting up others through faith, music, and service. Legends deserve their flowers. And after 4 decades of being a minister of gospel music in Chicago, it's Chicago's turn to celebrate a living legend. It's Pam Morris Day at the Chicago Gospel Music Festival, Saturday, July 25th. We'll see you at Gospel Fest, July 25th.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Traffic nice and light, especially along the Ryan, the Bishop Ford, and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial in both directions. Right now, along DuSable Drive northbound, we are seeing a minor delay right there at Roosevelt Road. That's mainly a stoplight delay. Otherwise, things are moving well. Things look good in both directions along the Stevenson. A big improvement along the Eisenhower at this time. You're down to 45 from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, 50 on the return trip, and no changes on the Kennedy. Still that 36 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown, getting to the airport an easy 27 minutes. Taking a look at our weather, another hazy, smoky day in Chicago. We are under an air quality alert that will remain in effect until tonight. The National Weather Service says we're looking at a daytime high near 90 today. 89 is the official high. Right now, temperatures have been climbing nicely. We did make it to the mid 80s. We're looking at 85 still at Midway. It's 85 in Altgeld Gardens and 85 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Watch this. These are my confessions. Just when I thought I said all I can say, my chick on the side says she got one on the way. These are my confessions. Man, I'm thrown and I don't know what to do. I guess I gotta keep part 2 of my confessions. If I'm gonna tell it, then I'm gonna tell it all tonight.
A lot of ominous tone from the president, ominous words from the president. It sounded more like a spy novel. A familiar complaint to you, Caitlin, about the deep state. The most striking thing the president did was he focused mostly on China, and he said he was releasing all of these new documents tonight that were going to prove more things about China. He says trying to get voter roll information, trying to learn about how to pry into voting machines and voting systems. He never directly connected any of that to changing an election result. That's important. I don't have the documents in front of me. We'll see if they get you there, but the president never did. The only time the president said anything about nefarious action actually changing an election was he said there are documents here showing how China helped the Maduro regime in Venezuela in 2020 change votes to stay in power. That is the only specific claim of actually rigging or changing an election result the president made. Much of it was, again, China's trying to do this. Russia did a little bit of that. But again, focused mostly on China, about things we've known about, things that have been in past intelligence reports about China. Yes, trying to get information about U.S. voters. Yes, trying to test the vulnerabilities of U.S. election systems. But nowhere did the president in that speech connect it to they changed the result in this state or they changed the result in this precinct. There was no connecting the dots to that point in the speech. I don't have the documents in front of me. Our team is looking at that way. But the tone of it was overwhelming. What was most striking to me, Caitlin, you covered the Trump White House at the time, was he had a boogeyman, and it was the familiar deep state. The president saying that this was all kept from him, kept from John Ratcliffe, his then director of national intelligence, kept from Gina Haspel, his then CIA director. Marco Rubio, who's now the Secretary of State, was the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee at the time. He has access to just about everything in U.S. intelligence. But Trump was making the point that people working for him, maybe they came from they were there in prior administrations, were keeping this information away from him about what he alleges is a deeper, more nefarious Chinese plot than we have ever known about. Look, the proof will be in the documents.
And we are back. The proof is in the documents. Some of you all will say the proof is in the pudding. You're listening to the TCS. That's right. It's the Cleopatra Show. The time is 9:56. I promise you, it will get funny. It's Funny Clip Fridays. I promise you, we won't tip there. But I wanted to talk about deep state for a moment. When you look up and define deep state, now that was the rhetoric that went all the way to the ballot box. It's an alleged concealed network of non-elected government officials, military leaders, or private entities that operate independently of a nation's elected political leadership to influence or dictate state policy. Come on now. On its face, who or what is the deep state? You just heard your president admit that his administration was a part of the cabal. If there is a cabal, he was the president at that time. I'm just trying to make it make sense. I'm going back to the phone lines. Let's talk to George. George, talk to me. Welcome to WVON. George. Oh, no, George. Oh, no. Let's talk to Mark Carter. Mark know how to fire it up. Mark said we support Trump. Come on, get her done, Mark. Talk to me.
So clearly there's three Chicagos, right? Because we keep talking about way up in Washington, D.C., and black people messed up right here in Chicago under black people and these liberal whites. But y'all want us talking way up in Washington, D.C. No, let's talk about right here in Chicago, where clearly now that the so-called elites and the special black folks are now are feeling it. Now it's a problem, but it's been a problem for the poor people. And these are all Democrats, from top to bottom, from the state to the county, the city, all levels of government. And you got a lot of black politicians. So we don't want to hear about no Trump is racist. These black folks here are racist in Chicago. These black people and these white liberals, they just as racist as y'all tell us Trump is. I'm glad that he's doing what he's doing to them. I'm glad that everything that they've been doing to black people, that is happening to them. Them black women got fired from government and all that. Good. They didn't care about the poor black women that they were serving. So now we want everybody to
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, Mark?
Uh-huh.
You just celebrated the firing of black women because
Yes.
wait. Because you're assuming that they have something. You said that the poor black women didn't have anything. So the working women, the working black women that are now fired,
The black Greek women.
The
not
black
just
who?
women. The black Greek women. And these
Black
Masons and
Greek
these
women?
stars. Yes.
So you assuming that all of the women that were fired were black Greeks?
But the majority of them were, but they were blocking out the other women who didn't, who weren't a part of them special groups.
Oh my God, Mark. Now that's a big
I know
assumption.
y'all don't be wanting to hear the truth.
No, man.
I know y'all don't wanna
But
hear
you
the
just
truth,
threw
but
a
that's
you.
why we separate.
No,
That's
you
why
know
we
what,
separate.
Mark? I take your call, but it got to be rooted in fact, brother. Like you just
It is a
celebrated. No, it's not a fact. That's not true. I know a number of black women. Wait. I know a number of black women that are not Greek affiliated that were fired. So why are you saying that? That's not true. But the fact that you're celebrating the fact that black women got fired because poor black women are without, they're
And the black
working.
men too.
I mean, but they're working for a living. So now they're not
I don't
working.
care about none of that. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about the poor people. I
Okay.
don't care about that.
Okay, Mark.
That's what I'm
All
trying
right.
to
I
tell you.
appreciate it.
No,
Thank
no,
you when you
brother.
call. I appreciate it. Listen, guys, I don't waste my prayer and I don't cast it, my pearl to swine. I don't understand that logic when we celebrate somebody's pain and you think it's a gain. That is disgusting and disturbing. Working people work so that they aren't poor because they have not. So they work for something to have. And then the poor people that have not, there is a number of fights on the ground for that. What I will say is Illinois is home to a number of black elected officials. Sure enough. So it's not that we care so much about Trump. Trump sets the policies, and this policy agenda is anti-black. And as a black man, to celebrate the pain of black women and men that have been fired. And the assumption is because they okay because they're Greek affiliated. That Greek affiliate ain't got me nan job I done ever had. I tell you that much right now. Huh. In fact, it depending on who you sitting in front of and who and what group you belong to, it's your ass. So that is a lie. That is a lie, black man. Stop lying to yourself and across these airwaves. Black people are hurting, and I will not celebrate somebody's loss for anybody's gain. We'll be back after this break.
And smoke-filled sky on this Friday, July 17th, 2026. I'm in Illinois, and in the headlines, hundreds will say their final farewell to a business giant. An hour from now, funeral services for George E. Johnson will get underway. An air quality alert remains in our area today, and IDOT is planning on closing outbound lanes along the Dan Ryan this weekend. National news from the Black Information Network is next, right here on the station that is Black and proud. 1690 AM WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 10:02.
Here's PIN News Now.
More than 100 House Democrats voted Wednesday to cut U.S. aid to Israel, reflecting growing divisions within the party over the war in Gaza.
On this vote, the yeas are 104, the nays 314. The amendment is not adopted.
The proposal failed, but it marked a significant shift in congressional debate over support for Israel. A prominent Black family is withdrawing a $1 million scholarship from the University of North Carolina at Wilmington after the school said it could not limit eligibility to African American students. The family plans to move the fund, named for Dr. Leroy Upperman, a Black physician, to an HBCU to continue its original mission. And 50 Cent is asking a judge to dismiss a lawsuit filed by a former employee, calling the case a publicity stunt. The ex-executive claimed she was fired after refusing to help conceal assets during bankruptcy proceedings. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Back to Terry McCready.
President Trump says he's declassifying evidence showing the American election system is vulnerable to interference and fraud. In a primetime address from the White House, Trump said China exploited weaknesses in our voting system to gain access to 220 million U.S. voter files.
Over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history.
Trump said China hacked our systems and projected its influence in the 2020 election. He added that a deep state within the U.S. government fought to keep China's actions hidden from the American public. The president said China's efforts were an attempt to keep him out of power. He singled out the Biden administration for hiding the information, adding he's asked the FBI to investigate what was uncovered. He also says the White House has published a new election integrity website that discloses the documents. An update on the mysterious death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells. Newly released emergency audio from the day he went missing off the Mississippi coast is raising new questions about the timeline of the black teen's final hours. The recordings obtained by NBC News capture a distress call from the operator of a boat carrying some of the teen's friends after the vessel reportedly suffered a malfunction while leaving Horn Island on the 4th of July. The call was made at around 4 p.m., right around the time Wells was allegedly last seen by his friend group and before the boat returned to the mainland. The audio provides some of the clearest documented evidence of confusion surrounding his disappearance. Authorities believe Wells stayed behind on Horn Island voluntarily, while his family and attorney Ben Crump have challenged portions of that account and other inconsistencies in witness statements. The United States continuing to send aid as Venezuela recovers from back-to-back earthquakes. This, according to Florida Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar, who says we have 2,000 troops on the ground to help find bodies and clear debris. But the U.S. also needs to create rule of law and democracy.
But what I can tell you, we will be sponsoring presidential elections in Venezuela, I am sure, next year.
Venezuela is still being led by interim President Delcy Rodriguez, with U.S. oversight after the removal of President Nicolas Maduro. Salazar says exiled leader Maria Corina Machado needs to go back and lead the new government in Caracas. But Rodriguez has implied that if Machado returns to Venezuela, she could be arrested.
All right, with intense anti-immigrant sentiment in South Africa, the Zimbabwean government says nearly 100,000 citizens have returned home since the end of May. This comes after a looming June 30th deadline by anti-illegal migrant group March and March for undocumented foreigners to self-deport. Around 3/4 of those returning are women and children, and the government says it has expanded repatriation and reintegration efforts. There are roughly 2 million Zimbabweans living in South Africa, and officials expect more than half to vacate. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
Some people wait for the future, others build it. WVON proudly presents the 2026 40 Game Changers Under 40. This year, it's a compass celebrating the navigators of next. Do you know an entrepreneur, community change agent, rising executive, educator, innovator, or a creator who is 40 or under and doing great work to help shape the future of Chicago? Or is that someone you? Now through July 17th, we're taking nominations. Visit 40gamechangers.com to submit your nominee. And then keep listening for updates on this year's exciting celebration. In 2026, our compass is on the navigators of next, because Chicago's future belongs to the people bold enough to lead it. Sponsored by BMO.
Hey everybody, this is Kendall Moore, the Kendall Moore Show, getting you from your work week to your weekend each and every Friday night from 6 until 9 p.m. I get you from your work week to your weekend. Church, tabernacle.
Kendall Moore, radio for the next generation on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds simple and affordable. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big. No retail store markups, just custom blinds guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
It's Gospel with Pam Morris-Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there, WVON.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Things look really good along the Ryan right now. Just a 17-minute trip from 95th Street into downtown. The Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, and DuSable Lakeshore Drive, pretty quiet right now. If you're on the Stevenson, you are traveling at the posted speed inbound from I-355 to DuSable Drive and back again. Another improvement along the Eisenhower down to a 43-minute trip from Thorndale to the Burns Circle outbound 40. And the Kennedy still looking at just about 36 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown, getting to the airport. That's a 27-minute trip. Taking a look at our weather, we're still seeing smoke-filled skies. The National Weather Service says our air hazard level is worse today than yesterday. Temperatures are expected to climb near 90 on top of all the haze we have to deal with. Right now, we're looking at 86 at Midway. It's 86 degrees in the South Loop and 86 here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Vernoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
More money, 40-year-old phenom. My 15 minutes of fame is stretched beyond. At 42, be better than 24s. I carried the 4-5, that's the 48 loss. Still wearing my 23s, they can't put the ball. Bars through 16s, I'm 23 up it all. Prime time, riding that 6 deuce. Then 9/11, I only subtract the roof.
States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead.
The United States launched a targeted operation against that compound.
They did a lot of shooting and they did a lot of blasting, even not going through the front door. You know, you think you go through the door. If you're a normal person, you say, knock, knock, may I come in?
After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body.
He died like a dog.
But his death does not mark the end of our effort.
A beautiful dog. A talented dog.
We give thanks for the men who carried out this operation.
And I don't get any credit for this, but that's okay. I never do. But here we are.
May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
And I'm writing a book. I wrote 12 books. All the
It is Funny Clip Fridays on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:11. And yeah, you know that voice. That was President Barack Obama. In stark contrast to your president, Donald Trump. And I thought I would make light of the situation. Your president took to prime time, and it was not prime time news. It was rehashing something that we need to address. Now, many of you all are responding to Mark Carter. I just thank God for the blessing he just sent into the studio. That was Pam Morris Walton that just sowed a word into me. But I will raise up the words that was just written in the chat by Joy. Joy says, Mark Carter, the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. I want to be very clear because I've gotten a number of text messages. This show is listened to all around the country. I want to be very clear, the national height of the TCS, and I don't take it lightly. I will never be in celebration of somebody's pain and anticipation for one's gain. Never. Because somebody has worked their way up doesn't detract from the fact that there are poor folk that are in a pit, and I won't pit them against one another. And when somebody is without, doesn't increase your chances that you within. Don't work like that. It does not work like that, and it will never be that way. Today, we take a national outlook, but there are many times throughout the week that I stay so local because all politics is local. But in the hindsight of this anti-Black agenda of this regime, I'll be remiss not to put it in context for us here in the Midwest. But this is applicable across the country. See, class is in session. In these lessons, you can take and run and tell that. I don't mince my words, and I don't mix them. I meant what I said. Many of Black women that were fired are non-Greek affiliated. And this Black woman that is Greek affiliated, by no means have I rest my laurels on it. If that's the case, I'll be sitting in the council. If that's the case, I would have had every job I ever wanted. And it doesn't take away from being a woman of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. But that is not how I got to this seat. And that is not how I got any opportunity I've gotten it. I've earned it. I've earned it. And somebody, some way, which lets me know that you're not Greek affiliated, you would know better. If you were college educated, you would know better. Oh, well, such went to this school, and that's how they got on. No. Everything Black educated, Black Greek, everything is just extra hard. And you heard me put so much emphasis on the D, extra hard. In fact, some folk mad that you did get in, and when they tried in 1992, because they couldn't get in, they ain't gonna let you in. The things that we've been through and the things we do to each other. So you can miss me with that. Stop it. We will find any and every reason. You the same man that told me you don't care nothing about no Jamaican, no Haitian, no China, no this, no that. Well, damn, who you care about? The Black American. Most of these Black Americans, everybody got something in them. Stop it. We sound so ignorant. Mark, I appreciate you listening, brother. But you heard the word. So a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. God bless you. But on this show, we're going to keep it all the way a buck. And real information, actual, factual. That assumption you just put out there, I blow that with a what? These Black people are hurting that lost their jobs. And I'm not going to ever celebrate that because there are black people without. Now it's just more black people without, fool. Do the math. Black people work hard. Always have. For every damn thing. Everything. It's not nothing nobody gave me but a kick in the ass and a lesson. Some say it's a loss because I don't sit in the council. No, I look at that circus and I thank God for his redirection most days. I feel sorry for my people. And it makes me angry that we live the way we live and that we don't want good people. But it's too bad. We miss out on a lot of good things that come our way. But I don't detract from that because those are lessons. And many of them come in life. But everything black people have, we scrape and we work hard for. And I won't allow anybody to note that. To even get a federal assignment. To even climb the ropes, you go through hoopla. Stripping 5-star black generals for 2-star white generals, and you still got to add 3 stars. Something wrong with us when we clapping and we think that's a good thing. You're sick. And I'm not going to not address that because he's not alone. Where there's one, there's more. But we all black Americans. What kind of black are you? I see many of black folk. I don't see me in them. I just see them. 773-591-1690. Now, I came here to be funny on a Funny Clip Friday, but I will take you to church any day. Something wrong with this picture. Many of us are anti-us. You might as well get on that boat and go swim ashore up there and carry out the marching orders with this regime and their anti-black agenda and their anti-black sentiment because you speaketh. Let's keep the phone lines going. Let's go to Nick. Nick, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Hey, great morning, Cleopatra. Happy Friday. Love your show and your choice of music clips. I always say narcissism is a deadly disease that most narcissists don't know they have. See, my mom asked me last night if I watched Trump's speech, and I said, why would I want to sit around, waste time, listen to a bunch of lies? And she laughed and said the same thing. But after listening to your take on it and some of the other callers, minus Mark, of course, I will now find it and watch it just to see how he acts and how you all put it. Imagine if ever after every championship Jordan won, he went back and cried about how they didn't win the finals in 1990. See, Cleopatra, I'm a firefighter in the south suburbs, and I work with a lot of, as they call themselves, Trumpers, with a few of them actually being Mexican, which blows my mind, especially me being the product of a black CTA bus driver that met a Palestinian woman on his bus over 45 years ago right here on 87th and Western. I always say to those coworkers, it's crazy we can't have a felon in a firehouse, but we could have a 34-count one in the White House. See, it was put in a way I understand better by an elderly brother. Just a couple of days ago, me and my dad were at a Dunkin', and he said their ideas is their identity and ain't no changing that. And with that, I thank you for having me on, Cleopatra. Have a great rest of your day. And just remember that there's a mark in every race, pun intended.
Oh, you just put a smile on my face. Thank you. Good call. Did you hear that? How can we not have a felon in the firehouse, but one in the White House? On that note, Ron, D, Melissa, Patrick, Donald, I'll talk to you on the other side of this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh, I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is your host and life coach, Linnell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So join me as we look at supporting you in living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
Leaders, advocates, entertainers, and changemakers from across the globe are in Chicago to advance civil rights and social justice at the NAACP's 117th National Convention, We the People. Now through July 22nd, the convention will address issues like voting rights, education, criminal justice, environmental justice, and economic opportunity. Monday, July 20th, WVON's Matt McGill will broadcast live from 12 p. to 3 p.m. from the McCormick Place West Building. To register, visit naacp.org/thehub.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No major changes in your travel times. Things are still pretty light, especially on the south end of the city. As you make your way along the Ryan, the Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, and DuSable Lakeshore Drive, you'll move along at the posted speed. Taking a look at our weather, right now, we're seeing temperatures climb through the 80s. We're headed toward a daytime high near 90. 89 is the official high. The National Weather Service says there is a chance for some storms later today. But right now, we're looking at 86 degrees at Midway, 86 in the South Loop, and 86 here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
In July, Vaughn TV has your summer watch list covered. Go behind the headlines with the official launch of Portraits in Color, featuring candid conversations with music executive Matthew Knowles, community leader Jotaka Edie, and actress Danielle Truitt.
My family's very proud. It was very cool to, when the show first came out and to see myself in those credits, with dun, 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 and be like, that's me. That's crazy, It is very cool to be a part of the legacy of Law & Order now.
And that's just the beginning. Premiering this month, Serenity, Strength, and Style with Sylvia Ewing and Friends, a fresh new series featuring inspiring conversations about health, wellness, creativity, and living life to the fullest. This July, there's something for everyone on Vaughn TV. Watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV+, the WVON app, or at Vaughn.tv. Vaughn TV, for the culture, by the culture.
The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
You know I can't go wrong.
And we are back. The time is 10:24, and I'm going straight to the phone lines. Let's talk to Dee. Dee, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning, Cleopatra. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. What's on your mind?
So, this is my first time calling into your show, and I really do try not to reference any other callers, but I do want to say this in what I heard on today's from today's callers in regards to Greek affiliation. I've been a part of a Greek organization. In November, it'll be 37 years. And I will tell you, I have been what's called part of the working poor class since I was handed my degree. And it's not because I'm not skilled. It's not because I haven't advanced on educational levels. It's not because I don't have the work ethic, any of that. It's because things happen in life, opportunities weren't there. But I will say this, I have never, ever leaned on the shield and gotten anything from it in regard to it being beneficial to me in my life when it comes to me providing for myself. It's not that I haven't asked, it just didn't happen. So to say that all of us are part of this clique, that is so untrue. It is so untrue. I work hard every day, just to pay my bills, just to survive. I'm not doing anything extravagant over here. I'm just trying to survive. So I say that to say, anybody out there who thinks that Greek affiliated people have this, this hotline to success, or they can be elevated at just a moment's notice, it is untrue. Thanks for taking my call.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm going to keep it going. Let's talk to Melissa. Melissa, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Hi, good morning, Miss Cleopatra. I hope that you are well. I do listen to you every day, and I'm kind of I'm not Greek. I've always wanted to be Greek, but I'm not going to even focus on that. I'm going to focus on, I wrote some things down. Most entry-level government positions didn't require you to have a college degree. So for you to say that those women, you are glad, there's something so heartbreaking for a Black man to get on a Black radio station and profess that you are glad that they are unemployed. I want to say that I pray for you, but right now I don't. And I don't wish you any harm. I'm just saddened. I'm sad for you because I'm wondering really, Miss Cleopatra, is he a plant? Because the things that he says, I know he believes it, but I just don't understand why he calls them, maybe to upset the rest of us. And if you understand anything about the Greek organization, was something that I've always wanted to be a part of, it is about serving the community. That's one of the first layouts. Like, are you focusing on the parties or something when they're in college? It's about serving the community. If you don't want to be Greek, then join the Masons. Find you an organization to help Black people. You can do that without being Greek. It sounds like a jealousy thing. Why are we always crabs in a barrel? You should be, all of us should be, we're all different. We all have different paths. We make it a different way. But the one thing we should be unified on is the betterment of our people, men, women, and children. And this administration is actively trying to destroy that. I sent Ms. Sonia an email maybe 2 weeks ago, and I'm just asking, maybe you can think about discussing what they call the big, beautiful bill, how it's going to affect us in advancing education. It is terrible. It is horrific. And any of us don't see that because most of us don't have trust funds and stuff to be able to send our children to college. It is to stop us from being educated. I don't understand what is wrong with our people. I don't. And I know that's not all of us because at WBON, I listen, like I said, all day. We're a very intelligent group. But for the ones who don't get it, if you don't understand white supremacy, what do they say? Everything else will confuse you. You are confused if you don't understand what is going on. Thank you so much for letting me express my comment. You have a great, wonderful day.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, when we return, Ron, Patrick, Donald, and Sylvester, I saw you on the live line, and I see you all in the chat. I appreciate your responses this morning. It's not Fired Up Wednesday. It's Funny Clip Fridays, but was that funny? A Black man celebrating our pain. Crabs in a barrel. Like you heard the sister. Never leaning on the shield. We're under the same umbrella. Like I said, What that mean? Being Black is hard while surviving America. And for those of us that have persevered and fought through it, I'm rooting for you. And for those of us that have fallen short of the glory, every day is another gift. And what you do with those 24 hours, it is up to you. And it is up to me if I'm still standing to grab you and pull you with me. That is the kind of leader I am. That is the woman that I am. And I'm very sincere in that. And some of us just not about that. We'll be back.
Hazy and smoky skies in Chicago as temperatures climb near 90. Good morning. I'm Annette Flurnoy, and here's what's happening. IDOT is planning on closing outbound lanes along the Dan Ryan this weekend. The closures are part of scheduled repairs on the 63rd Street overpass to I-90-94. Crews will also be installing steel support beams over the expressway. The ramp and lane closures will take place starting tomorrow night. And today, leaders at St. Sabina Church will address accusations of sex abuse against their senior pastor, Father Michael Pfleger. Earlier this week, Pfleger was removed from the pulpit and is living away from the parish while the Archdiocese of Chicago investigates. A woman says she was abused 30 years ago while a student. St. Sabina leaders are set to address what they call the mishandling of the accusations. In a statement, Father Pfleger calls the allegations an absolute lie. And in about 30 minutes from now, funeral services for George E. Johnson will begin. They're happening at Trinity United Church of Christ on West 95th Street. The church will live stream the services on their website. That's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVO News Time, 10:32. Shop small with Wintrust Bank and celebrate the heart of our community, our local businesses. Listen as we share a list of small businesses throughout our community that we can shop, dine, and support throughout the year. These businesses are the economic engine that drives our neighborhoods. Wintrust knows that. That's why they're Chicago's bank and why they're encouraging you to shop local. Keep listening for the Wintrust Community Business Spotlight campaign. With Wintrust, shopping small is a big deal.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the Black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Greetings, WVON family. It's your brother and friend, Bomani Obadeli of the Activist Hour. Join me on Saturday mornings as we discuss a holistic and public health approach to addressing community violence. We will also be discussing ways that we can create a safe, peaceful, economically thriving, and healthy communities. Join me Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. on WVON for the Activist Hour. This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds simple and affordable. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big. No retail store markups, just custom blinds guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
I do have something new right now. Your inbound travel time along the Ryan just bumped up to 21 minutes. No report of an accident, but we are seeing just an additional volume of traffic happening there. As you make your way along the Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, things remain the same, still quiet. DuSable Lakeshore Drive in good shape. As you make your way along the Stevenson, things are still moving along at 35 minutes in from I-355 to DuSable Drive and back again. You're still looking at that 45-minute trip along the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, 50 traveling out. And the Kennedy, we're seeing an improvement there. We're looking at just about 30 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown. Give yourself 25 minutes to the airport. Taking a look at our weather, still hazy and smoky. The National Weather Service says, though, there is a chance that we could see some storms roll into our area today. Temperatures climbing nicely through the 80s. We're headed to a daytime high near 90, 74 tonight. Still hovering, though, at 86 in Midway. It's 86 in Lansing and 86 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flurnoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Why isn't there any B batteries? Why there ain't no B batteries? But they tripled up on the A's. What, the B stand for black battery? Ain't no black batteries around it? Nah, if there was black batteries, I wouldn't use them. They probably will work sometimes. Fuck y'all, that's hilarious. Trying to be all pro-black and this. We don't talk that way in D.C., D.I. You can go back to Chicago with all your chitlin ways.
As Dion Cole, guys, it's Funny Clip Fridays on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:37. Before I take up my special guest, I'm going to let y'all get it off your chest. Let's talk to Patrick. Patrick, welcome to WVON.
Hey, Cleopatra.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, I called because you had mentioned that affordability. And my question to you is, if you and your family was able to save $300 every month, would that be good? Would that be a good thing?
What you getting at, Patrick?
I'm getting at, if you was able to save $300 a month, you and your family, and then the politicians hit you with a 66% property tax increase, that would wipe out your savings. Okay? That's bad. That ain't nothing good about that. There's nothing good about that. And when I look over at another state, their property increases no more than 4% every year or whenever, right? And yesterday I went to Indiana to get gas. Gas was $3.30. So the amount of taxes that Illinois, Chicago, and all of these counties put on taxes, yeah, I could see why some people might say affordability is a hoax, because why are Democrats taxing the people to death? You go to the grocery store and you pay a tax on a bag. You taxing my cell phone, you taxing Netflix, you taxing Amazon. So why are you on Trump when the local politicians are eating us alive? This is what makes me question
Patrick,
all
if
y'all.
I may,
This is why I question y'all.
wait. If I may interject, I
Mhm.
talk about all of this, brother, every day, all day.
Not
Today,
enough.
well,
Not
I mean,
enough.
but that's your critique of me. But I
Not enough.
thank you for listening. See, I'm glad. You see, I don't report to you. You listen to me, and I'm telling you on my show. I talk about local government all day, every day. You know why I'm talking about Trump today? Because he took to prime time television to command the nation's attention. So everything you're talking about in the suffrage in Illinois, I don't disagree with you. I point out that we have the most black elected officials in the country. I point out a lot of things. In fact, my next segment that I took the time to take your call for is about to talk about the school board races that nobody's going to pay attention to. That is estimated to be the lowest turnout ever. So I hope you tune up to that and you get active with that, because a lot of your property tax that you pay for go to the school choices that ain't even met with equity, brother. So I talk about this all day, every day. And I thank you for listening today. I really appreciate that. Now, getting to this next segment, since politics is local, let's take it there. Because many of you all, they're going to knock your doors. They're going to put mail in your mailbox. They're going to ring your phones. Many of you all will literally say out your mouths, I don't have a dog in that race. I don't got a kid in school. I wouldn't send a kid there. Da-da-da-da. But in the same tongue, when you see children take to the streets, well, where they parents at? Why don't nobody care about them? Why didn't you invest in them? Why didn't you fight for them? Why didn't you fight harder for them? Okay? Because at the end of the day, these taxes that you pay in your local schools, are they met with equity? Would you send your child there? Many of you all were zip code moms and dads playing and participating in the Hunger Games because many of us have no choice. And I'm here to tell you and remind you, you do. We have an elected school board, and it's about to be fully locked and loaded. And you will control the next person to serve. From the president to all the board members. Okay, so let's get on. Let's talk to Kimberly Walls-Kirk. Welcome to the WVON show. You're listening to Cleopatra. How are you?
How are you? I love what you just said. Like, I don't even think I need to say anything because you hit it right on the head.
Oh, I came fired up because, I was trying to be nice and let Patrick come on in. But since, it's a perfect segue. So talk to us. You are a veteran special education teacher. Thank God for you. And you are coming to talk to us about the school board race. And the Chicago Teachers Union have made some endorsements. So roll it on out. Come on with that red wagon.
Yes, we did. So yeah, I am a 19-year veteran teacher in Chicago Public Schools. I did teach special education for approximately 11 years, and I taught middle school special education. I also taught general education. Currently, I'm the 4th grade general education teacher over at my school, and I taught middle school 6th to 8th. That's most of my career, 6th to 8th grade. Taught middle school science, middle school writing, middle school social science. So I've been in between 4th and 8th grade. So as a classroom teacher, this is why it hits me hard, because not only am I a classroom teacher, but my child graduated from a Chicago public school. And I'm so glad that you see it, that we have zip code parents out there, because we do. Even as a teacher, I was a zip code parent. Where is it that I could put my child at a school where the resources are there? And that's not fair, because like you said, everybody does not have that opportunity to do that. Why are we playing Hunger Games with our kids' education? That really gets under our skin. So what do these school board races mean? It means that as a parent and as a student that can vote, you have a say so over the Chicago Public School Board.
And tell us who we are saying so about, because right now it's 21 seats up for election. And the folks get to vote on the president, and that is citywide. So talk to us about who are the who, and why did the CTU pick 15 of them, and 10 of them, I believe, are incumbents. So tell us about the layout.
Okay. So let me put on my full disclaimer. I also chair the Political Action Committee for Chicago Teachers Union. Let me just put that disclaimer out there. So the process is that for CTU, when you reach out to us, and we also reach out to people and say, hey, we don't turn anyone down. So let me just put that out there too. If you want to come in for an endorsement, put out the invitation, come on in. We vet and do the research for the constituents, the voting constituents. And as a teacher and as a parent of a child who also has family still in Chicago Public Schools, I take this very seriously, because this affects my child's learning conditions when she was in school, and it also affects my current students' learning conditions, and it also affects my family members' learning conditions. So I'm more vested than you may think I am. So when we go through this process, we ask these questions to see if your vision is aligned with the community, with the neighborhood. Because like you said, we all do not have that opportunity to be a zip code parent. We can't move our kids around. And it's not fair. Why is it that we have our students being bused across the city? Why can't we have those same resources right there in our neighborhood? Those are the questions we should be asking the Chicago Public School Board. Why can't our kids on the west and south side have the same access? Why do we have magnet schools? Why do we have selective enrollment schools? How come every school can't be a magnet and selective enrollment? We're all the same teachers. So when we think about these school board races, we vetted individuals that when we interviewed to say, okay, their vision for our students' education is aligned with ours as a teacher. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the process actually, we done went from alpha to omega. It is finished, and that is said in the good book.
So,
and in that good book, y'all done rolled out a list. Who
we
made that
did.
list?
We did. And so it is 21 districts. And let me explain to everybody. I had to also learn because this is new. You know, this is not something that we had time to. Well, it's historic. It's new. So I also had to educate myself on the map. You know, and every district is different. Why? Because every neighborhood is different. You know, so we did, and I hope you don't want me to go through the list of everybody.
No. I mean, and actually, the new ones will be nice. 10 of them are incumbents, right? So we'll talk about where folks can go familiarize themselves with those that have already been there.
Yeah, they can go online and look up the district map, look up the candidates for their neighborhood. They want to see the voting record of the incumbents. And even for the new candidates, you want to see where they align with those grassroots organizations that fit their neighborhood. Were they out there advocating for your child's education? That's really what you're looking at. You know, so when I always tell my colleagues and I tell my family members, when we go to the polls in November for these candidates, you want to do your homework. But what we did at CQ is we did most of the homework for you. We vetted them. We asked the question, what do you know about the classroom? Do you have any family members or is your child involved in CPS? How is it that you have a say-so on the school board and you have no connection to Chicago public schools? Let's start right there.
Well,
You know?
and I think that's a good thing. So with the 5 newer candidates, who might they be?
Oh, you're going to make me go down the list. I didn't even pull out my notes.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I mean, I can pull it up.
Pull out my notes to see who was in the comment, you know, because we did lots of interviews. And I don't want to misspeak. I believe, I think Tim B. kind of, I don't want to misspeak.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I can go through that. So for what it's worth, you know, when is the race? What are the next steps? And how turned up will you all be to get folks engaged? And ultimately, why should they get engaged? I want you to speak to folks, not only that are parents, but give rationale for those that aren't. Why should they care?
Okay, so let's look at our layoffs, our current layoffs. This is why you should care. So with our school board, these are the individuals that determine the resources that are funneled down to the classroom. And you know, I'm a proponent for smaller class sizes. Why is that? And I can't speak enough to why smaller class sizes are so important. Smaller class size, you know, allows us to have that one-on-one time with the student. Because if I get that one-on-one time with the student, I can identify, after I taught my lesson, the exact moment where your child was tripped up, that disconnect. Where is it they were confused at? And when you have these school board candidates, we need to ask these questions of them. What do you think about smaller class size? What do you think about special education? What do you think about busing my child across town to a cluster program for special education because they don't have one in my neighborhood? That makes a huge difference. They should be able to have solutions to these questions. And so we are now allowing the parents and the students to be in charge and control over the school board. Same thing with the local school council.
I get it. Well, one thing about it, I appreciate your energy, your commitment. We definitely will have way more questions as this thing is cooking up. So let folks know how they can go and learn more about the 15 candidates that have been endorsed and learn more about the school board race and why they should get involved.
I actually go to Ballotopia, so I'm not sure.
Okay, no worries. I'll give that out too.
Yeah,
no worries.
So I actually go to this. This is my research. I'm sharing with them how I do it. Okay, so I actually go to Ballotopia because I think it's Ballotopia is a Ballotpedia, and it actually allows you to see their voting record. They were an incumbent, and it actually allows you to see if they were a candidate, to see what they were involved in before. And, you know, I believe that you can Google the elected school board race to look at the map to see what district you are in. Because these districts, like I said, you know, are new. to see what your boundary lines and stuff are. So you can definitely do that as well. But Cleopatra, the next time I will have the information ready for you.
Okay. All right. Because, class is in session now. You ain't the only teacher
I was
around
talk about
here.
my experience as a teacher and tell you how important it is. So that we can definitely get into it. I would love to come in person, talk about the classroom and test for the students and what this stuff looks like. So I appreciate.
All right. We'll appreciate you. Listen, when we come back, I will lay out some more of the high level information to share. And I think we should indulge and anticipate the conversation about the elected school board. It is critical. It is vital. And you are a part of it. Thanks so much, Kimberly, for stopping by the show.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Some people wait for the future, others build it. WVON proudly presents the 2026 40 Game Changers Under 40. This year, it's a compass celebrating the navigators of next. Do you know an entrepreneur, community change agent, rising executive, educator, innovator, or a creator who is 40 or under and doing great work to help shape the future of Chicago? Or is that someone you? Now through July 17th, we're taking nominations. Visit 40gamechangers.com to submit your nominee. And then keep listening for updates on this year's exciting celebration. In 2026, our compass is on the navigators of next, because Chicago's future belongs to the people bold enough to lead it. Sponsored by BMO.
It's the afternoon show.
Those people that are saying, I am not my ancestors, are speaking from a place of privilege only given to them by their ancestors. So how can you come here now, right, when they've shed all the blood, when they've been bitten by all the dogs, when they've been hosed down by all the hoses, when they've been slapped in the face by all the cops, and here you come after laws have been passed to say what you wouldn't allow? I am not my ancestors. I think that is insanely disrespectful.
Weekdays at 3 on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh, I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's time to focus with Robert McKay. Quality conversation, protecting, preserving, and preparing our past, present, and future. Sunday evenings at 4 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
She's been the gospel soundtrack to our Sunday mornings, a friend to the community, and at WVON, she's family. Join Mayor Brandon Johnson, DCASE, the Chicago Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, as they celebrate Chicago's gospel sister, Pam Morris Walton, during the Chicago Gospel Music Festival on Saturday, July 25th in Millennium Park. Come help us honor a woman who has spent her life lifting up others through faith, music, and service. Legends deserve their flowers. And after 4 decades of being a minister of gospel music in Chicago, it's Chicago's turn to celebrate a living legend. It's Pam Morris Day at the Chicago Gospel Music Festival, Saturday, July 25th. We'll see you at Gospel Fest, July 25th.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Things still look pretty good along the Ryan from 95th Street into downtown. You're still looking at just about 17 minutes. Outbound, things are clear, and things remain quiet along the Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Air Memorial, and DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Taking a look at our weather, we're still seeing smoke-filled skies today. The National Weather Service says we could see some storms headed our way as well. Temperatures headed into the upper 80s. 89 is our official high. We're still looking at 86. 89 is our official high. That's right. We're still looking at 86 in Midway. It's 86 in Lansing and 86 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Why are you angry at your parents?
Because they always watch the good TV programs when I'm in bed.
How do you know that?
Well, when I'm in bed and supposed to sleep, I can hear some loud clapping noises coming from their bedroom, so it must be really good TV.
Oh, wow. Okay, then.
And we are back. It is Funny Clip Fridays on the Cleopatra Show. Oh, God bless these children and their young minds. As we just wrapped up a conversation about the Chicago School Board, elections are underway. The Chicago Teachers Union will endorse 15 candidates in the upcoming school board, in which 21 seats are up for election. This is huge. They're backing 10 of the incumbents who they supported in the election 2 years ago. And we had Kimberly Walls-Kirk on with us, a veteran special education teacher, labor leader, and she serves on the executive board. We're going to visit what she said in terms of Ballotpedia, and then keeping up with the school board races. We will pay close attention to that because all politics is local. And for those of us that say they care about the children, did you just hear that child? Oh. I'm going to the phone lines. I see Ron is on the live line and Susan, hold tight. Ron, talk to us. Welcome to WVON.
How you doing, Cleopatra?
I'm okay.
Okay, just a few points. I like to have a conversation. That's the first thing. Second thing is the grassroots in America, we are quite aware of the first 10 out of 12 presidents coming out of Virginia being slaveholders. We are aware of our history because it's ours. We are aware of it, and we are on code. And all of those ones that are not on code, you mentioned one of the people you look up to, this congresswoman. Well, my congresswoman is Barbara Jordan, and she was on code with the grassroots. Those black folks that are not on code, they are out. You mentioned the brother just a minute ago, James Clyburn. We disagree with his politics, the grassroots. We don't approve of him, and we want him out. That's the grassroots. Now, if you're not on code, we're going to do something about you. There's a whole lot of straightening that's going on right now in our country, the country that we built. And we're not going to relinquish that to any group. White, black, we know who our open enemies are. We know who they are. We know what benefits us and what doesn't. And I'll just say this. When you read the 92-page dissent by Clarence Thomas, and we're not calling him an ally, because just like in Harriet Beecher Stowe's book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, there was Uncle Tom and there was Sambo. We know who he is, but in that particular case, he had it right. Versus Ketanji Brown Jackson, who doesn't even know what a woman is. And then this is it. This is the last thing, and I will shut up, Cleopatra. The last thing is this. What's going on in our city and what has gone on in the city of Chicago, this Democratic plantation that Malcolm told us about with these white liberals, with these Republican or Democrats, two fangs of the same snake, we know who they are. And we're not choosing a side. We're choosing our side. You're going to give us something? Jordan Reed said something. She said, any black people that's asking for anything, that's somebody that you shouldn't be listening to. She said that. Roland Martin, we know who these folks are, and we don't want to include you in there. But let me say this. You represented a brother that came on here, I don't know, 4 days ago and said something about the grassroots and said to you, he said he was talking about the grassroots, and because that brother said that he supports Trump's policy as it relates to illegal immigration, you besmirched that brother and said that he was supporting Trump when he clearly told you that he didn't vote for Trump. So I'm all done now.
I'm glad you are. Listen, the time is 11 o'clock, and I'll respond to that on the other side of this break.
Another hazy, smoky, sky-filled day on this Friday, July 17th, 2026. I'm Annette Flournoy, in the headlines. This weekend, the NAACP's 117th National Convention kicks off. Next weekend, the third annual Taste of Bronzeville is coming back for its third year. And Chicago's annual Gospel Fest returns to Millennium Park next week. And WVON's very own gospel sister, Pam Morris-Walton, will be honored and celebrated as the city's premier gospel announcer for more than 40 years. National news from the Black Information Network is next, right here on the station that is Black and proud. 1690 AM WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 11:01.
Here's BIN News Now. More than 100 House Democrats voted Wednesday to cut U.S. aid to Israel, reflecting growing divisions within the party over the war in Gaza.
On this vote, the yeas are 104, the nays 314. The amendment is not adopted.
The proposal failed, but it marked a significant shift in congressional debate over support for Israel. A prominent Black family is withdrawing a $1 million scholarship from the University of North Carolina at Wilmington after the school said it could not limit eligibility to African-American students. The family plans to move the fund, named for Dr. Leroy Upperman, a Black physician, to an HBCU to continue its original mission. And 50 Cent is asking a judge to dismiss a lawsuit filed by a former employee, calling the case a publicity stunt. The ex-executive claimed she was fired after refusing to help conceal assets during bankruptcy proceedings. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Back to Terry McCready.
President Trump says he's declassifying evidence showing the American election system is vulnerable to interference and fraud. In a primetime address from the White House, Trump said China exploited weaknesses in our voting system to gain access to 220 million U.S. voter files.
Over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history.
Trump said China hacked our systems and projected its influence in the 2020 election. He added that a deep state within the U.S. government fought to keep China's actions hidden from the American public. The president said China's efforts were an attempt to keep him out of power. He singled out the Biden administration for hiding the information, adding he's asked the FBI to investigate what was uncovered. He also says the White House has published a new election integrity website that discloses the documents. An update on the mysterious death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells. Newly released emergency audio from the day he went missing off the Mississippi coast is raising new questions about the timeline of the Black teen's final hours. The recordings obtained by NBC News capture a distress call from the operator of a boat carrying some of the teen's friends after the vessel reportedly suffered a malfunction while leaving Horn Island on the 4th of July. The call was made at around 4 p.m., right around the time Wells was allegedly last seen by his friend group and before the boat returned to the mainland. The audio provides some of the clearest documented evidence of confusion surrounding his disappearance. Authorities believe Wells stayed behind on Horn Island voluntarily, while his family and attorney Ben Crump have challenged portions of that account and other inconsistencies in witness statements. The United States continuing to send aid as Venezuela recovers from back-to-back earthquakes. This, according to Florida Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar, who says we have 2,000 troops on the ground to help find bodies and clear debris. But the U.S. also needs to create rule of law and democracy.
But what I can tell you, we will be sponsoring presidential elections in Venezuela, I am sure, next year.
Venezuela is still being led by interim President Delcy Rodriguez, with U.S. oversight after the removal of President Nicolas Maduro. Salazar says exiled leader Maria Corina Machado needs to go back and lead the new government in Caracas, but Rodriguez has implied that if Machado returns to Venezuela, she could be arrested.
All right, with intense anti-immigrant sentiment in South Africa, the Zimbabwean government says nearly 100,000 citizens have returned home since the end of May. This comes after a looming June 30th deadline by anti-illegal migrant group March and March for undocumented foreigners to self-deport. Around 3/4 of those returning are women and children, and the government says it has expanded repatriation and reintegration efforts. There are roughly 2 million Zimbabweans living in South Africa, and officials expect more than half to vacate. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
Chicago, are you ready to ride through art, culture, and pure Bronzeville magic? The Bronzeville Art District Trolley Tour is back every third Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. Hop aboard our double-decker trolley buses for a night of art, community, and unforgettable vibes. For powerful exhibits at Blanc Gallery, to creative expressions at the Bronzeville Art Lofts, to cultural treasures at Fay African Art and the soul-stirring brilliance of Gallery Gashard. Each stop is a whole experience. This is not just a tour, it's a moving celebration of Bronzeville's heartbeat. Meet the artist, feel the rhythm, bring your friends, bring your energy. June 19th, July 17th, August 21st, and September 18th, every third Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. And it's free to ride the Bronzeville Art District Trolley Tour. 20 years strong and still rolling. Tap in for the culture. Tap in for the ride. RSVP now at Eventbrite and search the Bronzeville Art District Trolley Tour 2026. See you there.
Hey everybody, this is Kendall Moore, The Kendall Moore Show, getting you from your work week to your weekend each and every Friday night from 6 until 9 p.m. I get you from your work week to your weekend. Church, tabernacle.
Kendall Moore, radio for the next generation on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON. You never know who's going to stop by WVON.
Craig Hodges on the line with us. Craig, thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank God for us getting a chance to talk across the airways, brother.
Tim Hardaway on the live line with us.
Love coming back home to Chicago.
Alonzo Mourning, legendary NBA ball player. Welcome to WVON.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me.
We are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage. Homeowners, would you like to save on your monthly payments? Mortgage rates have been dropping. Visit rocketmortgage.com today to see what you can save. Call 800-863-4332 for cost information and conditions. Rocket Mortgage, LLC license in all 50 states. NMLS Consumer Access Org, number 3030.
Shop small with Wintrust Bank and celebrate the heart of our community, our local businesses. Listen as we share a list of small businesses throughout our community that we can shop, dine, and support throughout the year. These businesses are the economic engine that drives our neighborhoods. Wintrust knows that. That's why they're Chicago's bank and why they're encouraging you to shop local. Keep listening for the Wintrust Community Business Spotlight campaign. With Wintrust, shopping small is a big deal.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
Did Lindsey Graham die before Mitch McConnell? How the is that possible? It's hard to believe. McConnell was the one who spent a lot of time in and out of hospitals since his Capitol Hill buffering episodes. McConnell was the one who suddenly disappeared for a month and nobody heard from him, to the point where the governor of his own state was asking for proof of life, which coincidentally we got yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you totally believable evidence that Mitch McConnell is not only alive, but the happiest boy in the hospital. He's the happiest boy in the hospital. That's the smile of a Make-A-Wish kid whose wish was that everyone else in the hospital lost their health insurance due to his fucking policies. And after that, of course, Mitch and his wife released even more photos. Here they are at Disney riding Splash Mountain. Then apparently they climbed the spire of the Empire State Building and renewed their vows. And then, let's say, went to a World Cup game.
And we are back. The time is 11:12. It's Funny Clip Fridays on the Cleopatra Show. Was that clip funny? You let me know. The Grim Reaper. His proof of life photo has gotten a lot of traction online. I'm actually going to put it up now. But what's also getting some traction, I took the time to read the chat. Very interesting dialogue. Some of it's actually kind of disturbing, but at the end of the day, folks got to do what they're going to do. I'm going to indulge you all for a minute and respond to briefly in brevity the last caller. In fact, I'm going to dial back. I might have the team, because I actually might have had that clip pulled, particularly when there was a caller that called a couple days ago, maybe on Turbulent Tuesday, and said that he loved Trump policies. Now, I explicitly, and I'm not alone, a number, you can call them white liberals, white people, whatever you want to call them, they're without melanin in their skin. Caucasian media personalities, media newscasters, whatever you want to call them, have attested to the gross conduct of this regime and its anti-Black agenda. Now, as a Black woman saying that, the response that I get doesn't faze me. But anytime a Black man calls me and says that he loves Trump's policies, the accusation was not that he's a Trump supporter. I don't give a damn. That is done too. The scripture has said it. It is so. He's installed. 77 million people supported Trump. If you're one, you're a drop in a bucket. You're not the one that is the greatest problem of their all, but you are a part of it. Because it took 1 plus 77 more to get him there. But when you say you love his policies, I do find that to be disturbing, and I stand on business when I say that. So, Ron, you can call me every day. Your threats is nothing but a drop in a bucket to me as well. And when you speak in French, we, grassroots, whatever group you speak for, that's your business too. I speak for me. Am I a part of entities and all of that? Yeah, but I speak for me, right? So when you call me with those idle, empty threats, it is my choice to take your call. There are a lot of personalities a part of the WVON lineup. Am I humbled and appreciative you listen to the show? No doubt. But you are one of thousands across the country, and I don't take it lightly. But I don't appreciate threats either. I meant what I responded to the caller about. Trump and his anti-Black agenda is atrocious. There's no doubt about that. And whether you call them immigrants, invaders, whatever word, however you go back to 1700 with your people, that whoop-de-doo for you. Whatever you want to call anybody and everybody, at the end of the day, you can miss me with what is Captain Obvious about Trump and his anti-Black sentiment. And whether or not you all want to support how cruel and inhumane he is to folks that are here legally, illegally, people, whatever you want to say, they're human beings. And then ignore his anti-Black sentiment and his anti-Black agenda in the same vein, and that's okay with you, it is not okay with me. So if that means you don't listen to this show no more, God bless you in your ministries. Miss one bus is 15 more coming. I promise you. But I won't take to another threat from another person. So I see you all in the chat. And class is definitely in session. And for those that are fighting with their other classmates about what time it is in this kind of class, I appreciate the support. But I don't have to endure that. Not at all. I work too hard. So whatever group you speak for, that's fine. Keep speaking for them. But I meant what I said. And you can take your Trump-loving policies on another platform. Matt'll be in here in a second. After that, you got Ken Duncan. And if you don't like that, you can wait to the weekend. If you don't like that, you can wait for the afternoon show. You can roll on Rufus. I don't care how you roll. But I won't accept another threat because I don't have to. And I just wanted to put that out there. It is not a disclaimer. It is absolutely a fact. I come in here with the highest level of professionalism to not only deliver my job, but to deliver what I love doing. And if you don't like what we have to say as personalities, you can listen elsewhere. But you choose to listen here, and I appreciate that. But I don't take it lightly, and I won't accept another threat from anybody. Now, the phone lines are yours. 773-591-1690. Let's talk to Susan. Susan, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning, Cleopatra. How are you?
I'm in good spirits.
Good to know. Okay. I called about the school board guest, but I want to make a comment about Trump supporters. The thing that concerns me with them is, even if they say they agree with his policies, that's fine. You can do that. We all have choices and have different outlooks. But I never get details and specifics of what the policy is and what the effect that you're looking for, or the effect that it has had positively. I don't even have to see like Black people specifically. Like, what is the exact specific policy, and what is the effect of that policy that was helpful that makes you support this person? And it's like trying to pin that down is like trying to catch a butterfly. It's like it just never seemed to come down to anything exact and specific. So I just had to say that one thing. But I was disturbed with your guest when she made the comment, I don't even know why they have magnet schools. It's like, if you're going to be on the school board in some position of leadership, you got to understand the history of what's going on with CPS. And magnet schools are a reflection and an offshoot of the civil rights movement. The school was called Whitney Young because he was a civil rights leader with NAACP and died in a drowning over in Africa. So that was a tribute to him because he was about education. And so the thing is that it's Black man. So it was named after a Black man because it was intended for students that were suppressed in other locales in terms of getting as quality an education as a lot of the white students did. And then from my research, it also said it was to stop white flight. But when I was there, even though it's different now, we were like almost dang near 90% of the schools, even though it was Hispanics and Indians there and white folks. But we were the vast majority of the school. So, to say, I don't know why they have magnet schools, because the demand is so great to get into the schools. Now it's like, well, just throw the whole damn thing out. Everybody can't have it. Everybody can't have everything that is of a higher quality or more rigorous. Everything in life that's more rigorous, you're going to have to do more for. And yeah, there is a lottery component, because I guess the people that founded it understood, okay, we're going to have some students that need to take advantage of this, but they don't necessarily test well on paper. They don't necessarily have the grades on paper, but maybe they have the intelligence or the aptitude to go. So we're going to set aside some spots for them too. So it's a mixture of your background and the lottery. At least it was when I was there, because I know a lot of changes have taken place. But to say, I don't even know why we have magnet schools, when the real issue is we don't have enough magnet schools for the other intelligent students that couldn't get in because it wasn't enough space. So just because it's not enough space to accommodate everything doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater. And if you're going to be leading CPS, you need to know the history of what the hell happened.
Susan, I think you're mistaken. She's not a candidate for the school board. She was coming to speak to us about the candidates that are being endorsed. She's a veteran teacher, special education teacher, and mother. And furthermore, my only push to the argument is all of the schools should be enough. It shouldn't be more of anything. It shouldn't be a magnet. It shouldn't be a selective. Every school should be, goddamn it, great. Every school should be met with equity. So I just want to put that caveat. She herself is not a candidate for school board at all. She was just coming. She was giving her opinion, and I think it was along that same vein, but I can't speak for her. But I am saying that every school in every neighborhood should be great. Every school.
Oh, I absolutely agree, but I still don't think that means you throw out the magnet.
I mean, and I hear you about that, but you wouldn't need magnet or selective enrollment if every school was absolutely up to par and with standard. Now, will there be a caveat with gifted children? Absolutely. There's always something special that you can't happen to notice. But the fact that every school is not met with heaven and some of them are hell and should be just completely turned around with the gift of heaven is a problem. And that's why you're saying more of this and more of that. Every last one of them should be on the same level, and they're not.
They should.
Good call,
because
Susan.
my grammar school that I came from, it had issues. I went almost a whole entire year without a teacher. Just a
good call. I mean, I remember that when I was in school. Good call. When we come back, we're going to take a break, and I see Medina's on the live line. You don't want to miss this.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Matt McGill.
My brother Carl West, that's my style. You can use it, man. It's some cocoa butter.
What y'all doing with cocoa butter, man? What y'all doing in here? It's like puffy with baby oil, man. What are y'all doing with just cocoa butter laying around? And it's just wide open for anybody to stick their fingers in. Who's going to use this? Man? I don't know whose hands been inside of here, man. Trader Joe's, they went coconut butter. They even abbreviated.
I know, right?
I don't want that.
Weekdays at noon on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This is your host and life coach, Linnell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So join me as we look at supporting you in living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
WVON traffic and weather now.
The inbound side of the Ryan just bumped up to 20 minutes from 95th Street into downtown. We're seeing some activity along the inbound side of the Bishop Ford right at 103rd Street. As you make your way inbound along Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, there's still no problems or delays. Things are still holding up well along DuSable Lakeshore Drive each way. If you're on the Stevenson, you're still looking at that 35-minute trip in from I-355 to DuSable Drive 35 traveling out. The Eisenhower still moving along at just about 45 minutes from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. You'll need 40 on the return trip. And the Kennedy still 36 in from O'Hare to downtown, getting to the airport, a 26-minute trip. Taking a look at our weather, the National Weather Service says we could see some storms in our soon future sometime today. Temperatures are steadily climbing, though, through the 80s. We're headed to a daytime high of around 89. We're up to 88 at O'Hare. It's 88 in Hyde Park and 88 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 11:26, and it's Funny Clip Fridays. I don't know if the clips have been hysterically funny for you, but 25 minutes of fun with Don was great for the world. I'm sure the world laughed at America. We dial back to 2026 when he was president. Oh, make it make sense. But I promised that I was going to take Medina's call. Medina, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning, Cleopatra. I just want to say that I enjoyed the Funny Clip Friday. I always love and enjoy your show. And as a senior sister, I say high five and kudos. And to all of these men and some of the women who call in to insult and threaten you, I just think it's sad. I mean, they seem either angry and are uninformed. But you don't bow, you don't capitulate because you're educated. You educate yourself. And one of the things I love about your show is you're very generous in saying, call in and share information, and you listen to opposing views. So I wouldn't pay them any never mind, because Ray Charles could see what's wrong with this administration, government, and society. So I just called in to give you some love and say high five and thank you.
No, I appreciate that. You put a smile on my face. Thank you. Listen, guys, I see you all in the chat, and you heard her. Even Ray Charles can see what's wrong with the world, But again, as always, that is a part of the work. My work is designed to incite and inspire, and it doesn't mean it's all going to be good and it's all going to be great and bunnies and roses. I get that. But as we continue to go onward, we're tiptoeing into the weekend. On Saturday, my husband's birthday, but on Monday is my super producer's birthday, right? So I got cancers all around me that keep me even keel. God bless them. Lord, God bless them. And it is all kind of festivities. So I just want to know, lighten the load a little bit. What you doing this weekend? Now, last week, we had Tyrese Gibson on with Cody Walker. Tomorrow's Fuel Fest. You got Wrigley. Go Cubs, go. We bleed Cubby Blue in my house. You have all kind of movies in the park, all type of festivities. It is summertime shy in full effect. However, to protect your lungs, this air quality is low. That is a tragedy. So I do encourage, for those that believe as I believe, what you're breathing in, you should protect your insides. The KN95 mask, if you are available to get one. But more importantly, the work. This school board race is critical. You got a number of seats that are up. We're going to talk about the General Assembly next week. There are some more shoes to fall out. This Harry Benton story is real, and I've been waiting on what's going to become of it. But he has since bowed out of his seat. That is critical. But because the populace of Illinois is predominantly Democrat, it won't tip the hand much further. But it does change the landscape in terms of the behavior that has been predatory in the General Assembly and is being stopped by the Speaker, Speaker Welch. When we come back, Jigga, if you know anything about H to the Izzo, Jay-Z held down the Yankee Stadium for 3 nights in a row. And I know folk that flew out of Chicago to pull up, grown folk style. We're going to talk to Chuck Jigsaw Creekmur. He has been on the show and he's a friend of the show. And he wasn't alone. Jigga was out there with a few other notable ones. But more importantly, Rihanna, Nas, Eminem, Usher, Beyonce pulled up, and he held the mic with Rick Ross. You don't want to miss this.
Hazy and smoky with a daytime high near 90 degrees. Good morning. I'm in Flournoy, and here's what's happening at this hour. Hundreds have packed at Trinity United Church of Christ on West 95th Street to say a final farewell to an industry giant. Funeral services are underway for George E. Johnson. He's being remembered around the world as a pioneering business leader who founded Johnson Products on Chicago's South Side in 1954 and turned it into an empire that made Afro Sheen a household name. In 1971, Johnson Products became the first Black-owned business to be listed on the American Stock Exchange. George E. Johnson died on July 6. He was 99. Well, the NAACP's 117th National Convention gets underway this weekend in Chicago. WVON's Kayla Patton has more on what to expect.
We the People kick off Saturday and runs through July 22nd at the McCormick Place West Building. Leaders and changemakers from across the country will address important issues such as voting rights, education, justice, and economic opportunity. Special guests include Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, Mayor Brandon Johnson, retiring U.S. Senator Dick Durbin, and actor Billy Porter. WVON's very own Matt McGill will be broadcasting live from the convention Monday, July 20th. Organizers say the purpose of the convention is to bridge generations and share ideas to create the power of change. Kayla Patton, Our News Now, 1690 WVON.
And leaders at St. Sabina Church are gathering to address accusation of sex abuse against their senior pastor, Father Michael Pfleger. Earlier this week, Pfleger was removed from the pulpit and is living away from the parish while the Archdiocese of Chicago investigates. A woman says she was abused 30 years ago while a student there. St. Sabina's leaders are talking about the fact that and why they're questioning why the handling of those accusations mishandled. Now, in a statement, Father Pfleger calls the allegations an absolute lie. And IDOT is planning on closing outbound lanes along the Dan Ryan this weekend. The closures are part of scheduled repairs on the 63rd Street overpass at I-90-94. Crews will also be installing steel support beams over the expressway. The ramp and lane closures will take effect tomorrow night. Well, that's a look at Our News Now on 1690 WVON. Weather and traffic up next. WVON News Time, 11:33.
It's Rufus Williams. The thrill of summer is finally here, which also means it'll be over before we know it. This fall, the Rufus Williams Travel Club is heading to Charleston, South Carolina, October 8th through the 12th. Join me as we experience the beauty, the brilliance, and the culture of one of America's most captivating cities. We'll enjoy the charm of the Lowcountry, breathtaking scenery, incredible cuisine, and the rich African-American history of Charleston. There will also be a few special surprises designed just for our group. So whether you're traveling alone, with family, or with friends, you'll be welcomed into an unforgettable experience filled with great people and great memories. Space is limited, and the best rates are right now. Simply go to WVON.com, click on the Rufus Williams Travel Club banner, and reserve your space. Advantage International is the official travel partner of the Rufus Williams Travel Club. Charleston, South Carolina, October 8th through the 12th. Travel with people, travel with purpose, travel with us.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
Hi, I'm attorney Ernesto Borges. I'd like to invite you to join me for the Borges Report for lively discussions about legal matters, politics, government, entertainment, and the topics that concern you in your life. Start your Sunday the Borges way with the Borges Report.
The Borges Report with Ernesto Borges, Sunday mornings at 9 on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is sponsored by RockAuto.com. Grinding and squealing are signs it's time for new brakes. Skip the hassle of searching for the right parts and shop RockAuto.com. Find trusted name brand parts at lower prices and have them shipped directly to your door. All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto.
WVON traffic and weather now.
The inbound Ryan, an 18-minute trip from 95th Street into downtown right now, heaviest in the local lanes from 43rd Street to the Burns Circle. As you make your way along the Bishop Ford, some minor delays right around 103rd Street to Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, moving well. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, things are quiet there. Also quiet along the Stevenson each way. If you're on the Eisenhower, we are looking at 45 minutes from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. Outbound, just about a 40-minute trip. And the inbound side of the Kennedy, 35 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown. Give yourself 25 minutes to the airport. Taking a look at our weather, still seeing some smoke-filled skies across the city. The National Weather Service says we could see some storms roll into our area today. Temperatures making their way near 90, 89 is the official high, 74 our low tonight. We're up to 88 at Midway. It's 88 in Austin and 88 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Illinois on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show, but really I gave you a sneak peek into Hove. Hove and Nas took to the stage right there in the Bronx, New York. And yes, this is 2026, but it feels like a 96 time in the beat, in the mix. And who's on the live line with me is Jigsaw. That's right, Chuck Creekmur. And I am with the man, the myth, the legend that's set with Rick Ross. And tell me if he the boss.
He's the boss. He's definitely the boss. Shout out to Rick Ross. Spent a lot of time with him this week. And was wondering, why weren't you on that stage with Jay-Z? He's in town. He's touring as well. And for some reason, they couldn't quite pull it together, but still all love and respect between those two. And when I interviewed him, I asked him who had the best bars of all the people he's collaborated with, and he cited Jay-Z as the one. So shout out to Rick Ross.
I mean, but I mean, Reasonable Doubt, the Blueprint. Let's talk about Hove. Hove had some hitters there. Of course, the misses, right? So Beyonce, then he took to Nas. I'm surprised Beyonce let Rihanna come, but Eminem and Usher, I had to say.
Don't be messy,
like, girl,
now.
You let Rihanna come, girl.
No,
That's because she married now.
That was a long time ago.
I's married now.
They even took a picture. You know what I mean? So that's a whole other era.
Oh, I's married now. that was enough to say, okay, now you can come. Now you may come and be in my presence. So listen, you was there. Tell us take us to the Bronx. I've never seen the Bronx.
Never been to the Bronx?
No, I've taken 40 students to New York. I've been on 106 in Park. I took my kids Times Square. I did it all. No, I've never been to the Bronx. So give me the play-by-play. Let me even smell the air. What is the Bronx like?
The Bronx is a tough town. Now, I got to admit, it took Hip Hop 50 for me to fully come to a full resolution and heal from some of the past experiences I've had in the Bronx. But the Bronx, particularly Yankee Stadium, is the home of hip hop. Obviously, Yankee Stadium is a monument. Jay and Eminem once upon a time were the first rap acts to play Yankee Stadium. And now here's Jay-Z doing it, headlining his own show. It was a wonderful affair, and it was wonderful to see all the love and respect, adoration. You had people coming in with their various forms of merch on, Jay-Z jerseys, obviously the classic Yankee fitted. From an industry perspective, it was a reunion. You had people from the industry from decades in coming out. I saw people that owed me money. Somehow they paid for the tickets, and I'm wondering how y'all going to see Jay-Z owing me money. What's going on? But
check this out. Let me ask you this: the stadium, how many seats does it hold?
I want to say 50,000, but I'm thinking 40,000 from the concert perspective.
Was it sold out?
Sold out. All 3 nights were sold out, and they had a little hiccup on the last night, which was more than a little hiccup, big hiccup. But for the most part, it was peaceful and mannerly, orderly. Obviously, some of the folks are, we getting up there, so it wasn't the super rowdy crowd, but it was awesome to see Jay-Z really in a lot of people's eyes reestablishing order in hip hop, because it's been almost a decade since he dropped his last album, and a few people have been taking shots at the throne, and I think Jay's had to put people back on notice that he still can do this at a really high level.
So sold out all 3 nights. I'm in the salon. Peep this. I'm in the salon last week, getting all fresh to death, right? Mm-hmm. I know folk in there talking about, I got to get my hair done because I'm going to New York. I said, man, what's, I'm such a square. I said, what's happening in New York? No. And my head is in said book or following said elected and all the nonsense. Mm-hmm. I said, let me flip to the culture, right? So I unplugged and I'm like, oh, yo, Hove is back, right? Yeah. Oh, okay. What we doing? I did see him get that blowout.
Yeah.
What he do with his hair? Because I couldn't follow that after that. What do you
do? His hair, his hair is a part of the story, and Beyonce has a business attached to it. But Solomon, there's so many layers to it, and I think that Jay-Z finds a lot of strength in his hair. So the show started off on Friday with him actually getting his hair cut in the stands by Beyonce. But, he wasn't surprising us. We already had heard this is what was going to happen and that he was going to return to the classic New York Caesar cut Jay-Z. And so
she had clippers and all?
Yeah, right up in the stands.
Okay, bet. So this what I'm going to do. I'm going to show my husband, right? I'm going to convince him because it's his birthday tomorrow.
Oh.
And I'm going to see if he's going to let me get to the back of that neck with some clippers.
The kitchen.
I've been trying for years, and now if Beyonce can cut Jay-Z hair, I can too.
Just absolutely. You might as well go ahead and buy him a fresh set of clippers. You introduce it to the game, and I don't know what his hairstyle is, but I feel like you can save some money, and it could be.
I be trying to look, Jigsaw. I try to tell him from an economic standpoint. We are in this together.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, my barber upped his prices. I said, it's the wrong time for that, my brother.
So what does it cost to get a haircut out in New York?
$50. Well, it depends. I have a cheap barber. My main barber is $50. I have a cheap barber that's 30 something. So it depends on what you're going to. If I'm going to a classy, fancy affair, I'll spend the bread, but it goes higher than 50. You just have to find the right person for your needs. If you have the I'll Be Sure, you might need to go a little higher than that. For me, I keep a low cut. So
so the creativity of the Carters was genius, because I was wondering why was Beyonce combing out his locks, but he was on a journey. So back to the beginning of, was it The Blueprint or Reasonable Doubt? Which one came first?
Reasonable Doubt was the first album. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And that was Jay almost performing, had the mafia clothes on and perhaps, chasing a little bit the legacy of the late great Notorious B.I.G. We were in the Big Willie era by this time, and 96 was even a little after, Biggie had come out. And so, moving forward, and Reasonable Doubt wasn't the only album they celebrated. It was also albums like The Blueprint, which I feel is his best work. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the return to that hairstyle that we know and love, the classic Jay-Z. Hopefully it comes with some new classic music, which I'm also hearing is on the horizon for the king. Maybe I think he's still the king of New York, or Nas and him. I think they co-king.
The fact that they was able to come together, how was that received? Did the crowd go wild?
Amazing moment. And I was blessed enough. If you look at the cover of Vibe magazine, I might add the highest selling cover of Vibe magazine. I did the cover story for that when they made Peace many moons ago. And to see a full circle moment of them really looking like brothers, embracing each other. Obviously there's creative competition there, but seeing them embrace each other, that's just probably the highlight of the whole 3-day affair.
I love it. When we come back, I would love to hear, how did Eminem, Usher, and Rihanna come to play? And I'm also getting word that folks wasn't too much in love with Rihanna's performance. I want to understand that. And I don't know its history. So that's why we got you here, because Jigsaw is going to lay it out and make it plain for us. But Usher and Eminem, what a interesting concoction, what a historical attribute to Hove. We'll be back.
Summer is here, the season of sunshine, swimming, picnics, and the freedom to have fun and enjoy yourself. United Fidelity Bank believes freedom starts with smart savings. Whether you're hanging with friends and family or enjoying a summer night, your money should still be working for you. Open a United Fidelity Bank 18-month certificate of deposit with a 4.25% annual percentage yield. It's a simple, steady way to grow your savings, letting your money work for you. At United Fidelity Bank, they focus on you, your needs, your goals, your questions. Their personal service is something you will not find at a big box bank. Get the experience you need and the service you deserve. Stop by their Chicago flagship branch at 1701 West 87th Street to open your 18-month 4.25% APY CD today, or visit UnitedFidelity.com. United Fidelity Bank, where your summer of smart savings begins. Rate subject to change at any time. CDs renew automatically at the standard rate in effect at the time of renewal unless instructed otherwise. Member FDIC.
The American Heart Association is committed to being a relentless force for a world of longer, healthier lives, so survivors like Pam Morris-Walton can have more time to celebrate personal and professional milestones with the people they love.
Pam Morris-Walton here. Family, I am a heart survivor and I am loving life. I want you to be a survivor too. Some of the ways you can protect your heart from heart disease is by eating right, exercising, even walking or riding a bike. Watch your blood pressure, stop stressing out, and pay attention to your body. If something feels wrong, do not ignore it. Let your doctor know. The American Heart Association and I want you to live a long and healthy life, don't you?
Learn more about how to maintain a healthy heart and possible signs of heart disease. Visit the American Heart Association at heart.org. That's heart.org.
Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter.
We're up to way over 400 million here. Yeah, giving money back. How about that? People in Bellwood got 10 million, Broadview 6 million, Burnham 3 million, South Holland 17 million. The city of Chicago's up to $190 million that we have given back to African Americans. Who does that? Nobody does that but WVON.
Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter, Monday mornings at 11:30 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
She's been the gospel soundtrack to our Sunday mornings, a friend to the community, and at WVON, she's family. Join Mayor Brandon Johnson, DCASE, the Chicago Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, as they celebrate Chicago's gospel sister, Pam Morris Walton, during the Chicago Gospel Music Festival on Saturday, July 25th in Millennium Park. Come help us honor a woman who has spent her life lifting up others through faith, music, and service. Legends deserve their flowers. And after 4 decades of being a minister of gospel music in Chicago, it's Chicago's turn to celebrate a living legend. It's Pam Morris Day at the Chicago Gospel Music Festival, Saturday, July 25th. We'll see you at Gospel Fest, July 25th. Leaders, advocates, entertainers, and changemakers from across the globe are in Chicago to advance civil rights and social justice at the NAACP's 117th National Convention, We the People. Now through July 22nd, the convention will address issues like voting rights, education, criminal justice, environmental justice, and economic opportunity. Monday, July 20th, WVON's Matt McGill will broadcast live from 12 p. to 3 p.m. from the McCormick Place West Building. To register, visit naacp.org/thehub.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Still looking at no changes to your travel times on inbound and outbound Dan Ryan. Also on the Tuskegee Airmen Memorial. Bishop Ford is moving smoothly, and so is DuSable each way. The Stevenson, you're looking at about a 30-minute drive in and out. Eisenhower, you're looking at 37 minutes. In inbound and outbound Kennedy, it's looking at some stop and go traffic, so give it about 35 minutes. Looking at our weather, it is sunny and bright today with a high of 89, but the National Weather Service says we are still under an air quality alert. Tonight, you're looking at a low of 74. The temperatures are currently climbing because it's 87 degrees here at Midway, 87 at Rainbow Beach, and 87 here at the Talk of Chicago. Let's look at traffic and weather now. I'm Kayla Patton on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 11:52. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show in Chicago. The festival season is heating up, and Metro's your ride to the fun. And that's right, whether you are heading to Tacos and Tequila Fest in Pilsen or sampling bites at the Taste of River North, skip the traffic, forget the parking fees, and let Metro get you there with affordable fares, easy ticketing on the Vitra app, and convenient connections throughout the city of Chicago.
The city had the worst
Metro makes it simple to enjoy everything Chicago has to offer. Plus, children under the age of 11 ride for free. This weekend, spend less time driving and more time tasting, exploring, and making memories. Take Metro so you can drive less and do more. Now let's get back to Jigsaw. You heard Rihanna. Who gonna run this town? Clearly, Jigga did. He tore the house down for 3 nights in a row at Yankee Stadium, completely sold out. You were in the audience, but I've been looking at reviews and I'm checking my notes. Why wasn't people feeling Rihanna? What happened? What had happened? Let me ask that more black.
I can't say why people weren't feeling Rihanna. You know, I'm always feeling Rihanna. Rihanna is one of my favorite artists, so I'm not going to sit here and share the messiness. But I will say this, you know, Rihanna's a mother now. She's not necessarily an active singer. So she's not on those type of platforms the way she used to be. So I'm going to give her a little bit of grace and say that she might have been a little rust on her. And she probably recognized, I believe I saw her recognize that as such. But you know, they were like, you know, she doesn't even come out for ASAP Rocky. So we should just be appreciative that she showed up in the first place.
I appreciate you giving mothers grace. Jigsaw, you know, I got an 8-month-old.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
2.5-year-old and an almost 5-year-old.
Man, you get all my respect.
Hey, let me tell you, showing up, favor ain't fair. It just ain't. And I'm glad to see a black man Give that sister some grace. I appreciate that because, like I said, in my nerdiness, my producer's informing me, and I'm just trying to figure out it's Rihanna. So I appreciate your response.
Yeah.
As a mother of 3, Lord knows I know.
There, you're in the trenches. You're deep in the
Oh
trenches.
yeah, oh yeah, I'm in the weeds, but I could see freedom. I'm trying to tell you. Somebody complimented me today. They said you dress nice around here. I dress for the job I want, not the job I have. I thank God for it. But
There
it
it
is
is.
with purpose I show up. Let me tell you something. So I appreciate your humanity in that sentiment. And even then, her recognizing, see, Beyonce took time off too. We have to be gentle on ourselves. But the
Absolutely.
fact that she showed up was enough. I appreciate that.
Yeah. There it
So
is.
talk to me about this concoction though. Eminem and Usher. Now you got to admit that that's a concoction, right? But Eminem, in all his glory, and then Usher still telling his story, and the
Yeah.
fact that they paid homage to Jigga. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, Usher was someone I didn't expect to see, to be real with you. He's already on tour with Chris Brown. He's a very busy man, but he took time to show out and pay homage with Jay-Z or to Jay-Z or however you want to put it, and did a classic song, Heart of the City, as well as a deep cut from his seminal album, Confessions. So that was awesome. Eminem, it's great to see Eminem. He doesn't come out that often. I always wondered, what does it take to get Eminem to come out? I mean, Jay-Z obviously is one of those guys, but at the same time, does he fly private? Does he,
And even if he did commercial, would people recognize him? Like, that's wild.
I don't know.
He blends. He don't do nothing extra. He blends in real regular, and
Yeah, he
it's
does.
Eminem. Like,
Yes.
I'm not even trying to be comedic about it. I love that about him. But you're right. He came out for the election. That was vital.
Mhm.
But he keep a
Absolutely.
real low key profile. What was it like when he came out?
Who, M?
Yeah.
Oh, everybody, everybody went off. I mean, everything went crazy for Eminem. And I'm glad we finally have come to the end of the debate on who out-rapped who or whatever, and just celebrate the actual awesomeness of the moment. Shout out to Eminem, because he has always paid homage to hip-hop in general. He always puts reverence on even underground artists. And so I think that this is just an extension of his respect for the culture overall.
Well, one thing about it, I appreciate, you attesting to what you bore witness to. Last but not least, what is up with Ricky Rose?
Rick Ross just dropped his 12th studio album. It's called Set in Stone. And by the way, I have physical copies of that album, a CD, an actual CD of the album, which I'm happy. I actually have a CD player still. So I use my CD player. And this album, it's good. I think he's celebrating too, 20 years in the game. And I interviewed him and I really talked to him about a lot of things. But in particular, I'm always curious for artists that operate at a high level over an extended period of time. What were the ups? What were the downs? Why are you still doing this? What pushes you? What motivates you? And honestly, how? Because folks out in the comment section do not understand how much it takes to maintain your status at such a high level over the course of decades, 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades. Some of our artists are 4 decades in. And so for Rick Ross to be able to endure over the course of 2 decades, but it's not just 2 decades. I mean, we're talking beefs, we're talking battles, we're talking street things and music changes, technology changes. And, being able to go through all that is pretty amazing. So this
last but
album
not
is-
least, in the chat, folks is raising up the fact that Jigga didn't take to his platform to talk about anything voting midterm related. In fact, they're correlating it to, vote or die with Diddy. All them people that flew there. What's up, Jigga? What's your take on that?
I think that there's a new Jay-Z right now. That's the billionaire Jay-Z, and I think, quote me and in the chat, please, if I'm wrong. I think billionaires have a different criteria than other folks. Like it or not, I wish he had said something, but I think Jay-Z's and he's being defensive right now, if you ask me. He's responding to those people who have either criticized him or had commentary, and he's responding to the things that he chooses to respond to. So my thing would be, raise the volume on those critiques, and maybe he'll respond or act different. He hears everything. He sees.
I'm trying to tell you, he has been responding. I agree with you. So let's raise the roof on that, Preston. Jigsaw, I love when you come. Let this not be the last. You got some relics over there, CD player, albums. I see the background is lit. Thank you so much for giving us some insight into the Bronx, into Hove, and all of what New York has to offer. You helped me put the capital C in culture when it comes to culture, arts, and politics, which is the heartbeat of my show. I put a cap in anybody's ass, and I can't do it without myself because it's a blast to have you with me. Dropping bars. I ain't dropping bars behind bars like R. Kelly did, but I'm dropping bars.
You own today. Thank you.
All right, guys, it's been a blast to be with you. Funny Clip Fridays. I am hanging out across the city of Chicago, but I'm doing it with the KN95 mask. Tomorrow's my husband's birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Draper. If you see me, show him some love. We will be at Fuel Fest. Big ups to Tyrese. I want you all to stop by. It is a good cause, a good humanitarian cause. Tonight is the Gouchards. If you're going to stop by and you want to check out the finer parts of Chicago, do it Bronzeville style on the double-decker trolley. That's right, and it's free. Can't miss that. Be with you all tomorrow. Monday. It's a manic Monday, and I'm coming in with a piping hot story. 9 a.m. only on the Cleopatra Show.
I hope you're making the best of this hazy day. I'm Kayla Patton, and in the headlines, a second wave of wildfire smoke is expected to move in the Chicago area today. The We the People kick off Saturday and runs through July 22nd at the McCormick Place West Building. And from bold flavors to Southside Pride, next week the Taste of Bronzeville is back for its third year. The Black Information Network is next on Chicago's original social media platform, 1690 AM WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
Here's PIN News Now. More than 100 House Democrats voted Wednesday to cut U.S. aid to Israel, reflecting growing divisions within the party.